actually saw that on NFL a few days back with the whole Shannon Sharp thing. I believe those guys were playing the Patriots, and I thought it was like seriously funniest thing I've ever heard. And Shannon, he's from the South too. So I was like, yeah, hey, I gotta show love to my guy Shannon Sharp. With the help is on the way. That's hilarious. Most hilarious thing ever.
Went all that funny to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I'll tell you that. Tyreek Hill, after going bonkers yesterday, just in the first half, but let alone in that whole game, in a Chiefs 27-24 victory over the Buccaneers, 269 yards. 3 touchdowns for Tyreek Hill. Is the best team in the NFL. I know not the only undefeated team, but the best team in the NFL went on and won again. What's up, y'all? Happy final day of November. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving weekend, and we got a lot to do today. Opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal. Jeff Siembieda, JJ Buck, Micah, Josh, and Jay Pull on the video side. A weekend in which it started off with the Lobos getting run out of Utah State in the third quarter in a game that they had an opportunity in, and in a weekend where you saw Roy Jones Jr. and Mike Tyson go at each other, where you saw some interesting stuff on the weekend in college football, a really bizarre weekend in the NFL where we lost just a wonderful human being locally. JJ, we got a ton to do. How was Thanksgiving for you?
Thanksgiving was very nice. It was actually for us really simple on Thursday with, me working in the evening. We actually grilled up some steaks, had a little steak lunch, kept it simple here at the house, and it was a very nice weekend. And like you said, man, the last 4 days, my head has been absolutely spinning, really just trying to keep track of everything that's gone on. Of course, the NFL from Thursday's games, which also had the carryover with what happened in Detroit, the Cowboys being embarrassed in Dallas, to college football, college basketball, just so much this weekend.
Aggies opened up yesterday with an 83-77 victory over Arizona Christian, or as one of the local news anchors said last night in the tease. And coming up next in sports, the Aggies open their basketball season against Arizona. That's next in sports. And I'm like, oh, that's very different. No, that would explain the score. That would explain why it's so damn tight. A little different. But again, I've always told you, news people don't have to get sports stuff right. It's just silly sports. It's just games. Facts don't matter when it comes to that. 83-77, New Mexico State over Arizona Christian, and ACU had a lead in the last minute and a half of that game. So let me explain to you, if you didn't watch it, and that's fine. Lobo fans going to take their shots, and that's okay. At least they're playing a game. Arizona Christian is, JJ, ranked 9th in the country in NAIA. They're 5-0. So, okay, so they're a nice team. That doesn't mean that they should be giving the Aggies struggles. But this was the Aggies' first game outside of a ballroom. This is the first time the Aggies have gotten together outside of their ballroom, and they went out, and I don't think they anticipated the struggle that they were going to get from this team. They had some players. I will tell you, I thought down the stretch, now, JJ, New Mexico State misses a lot at the rim. And college basketball teams tend to do this, especially early in the season. Donnie Tillman missed a bunch at the rim, but especially from about that 13-minute mark in the second half through, about 6-minute mark, they must have missed 10 to 12 points just right at the rim, and let Arizona Christian in. But give Arizona Christian credit. Jan said after the game, it's going to be a teachable moment. McCants was big down the stretch. He had a huge block on the final possession for Arizona Christian. Clayton Henry had 20 points. Donnie Tillman had 15. And the Aggie win. It was literally a one-possession game, and then McCants went to the free throw line with about 2.5 seconds to go. It was a 3-point game. Made the first to make it a 4-point game. Missed the second. Got his own rebound and put it back to make the difference 6. But this was a one-possession game all night long, and I know you can look at it two ways. Wow. What were the Aggies doing having a one-possession game against an NAIA team, or they found a way to get out a win in their first game against a nice NAIA team?
Allen Iverson wasn't talking about college sports. When he said practice, talking about practice. You could tell that was a team that's had about 10 days under their belt. And Arizona Christian, man, Angelo Johnson is nice. That point guard had 26 points, and he gave Evan Gilliard, the Aggie starting point guard, and then C.J. Roberts, who's backing him up, fits all night long because Gilliard was in foul trouble, so C.J. Roberts had to play a lot more in that
he played
second
nice.
half. And he did. I thought he had some nice drives to the basket. That's a position with Evan Gilliard. There was a lot of expectations because he's a D1 guy transferred in from UTEP, stepping in to take over. But that's still, of course, a position that they're developing in this offense. Because to your point with, I liked what I saw out of Tillman and Henry because Jabari Rice, was preseason WAC Player of the Year. So the expectations were sky high for him, and I thought he did pretty well. Also 9 rebounds, 4 assists, but really that trio of players for the Aggies showing their aggressiveness, their willingness to step up, because that was one thing that didn't, even though they scored 83 points, the offense didn't really flow. To your point, it was a lot of just kind of, all right, I got to go get a bucket right now. We got to make something happen. And that's, of course, something you expect early in the season without a lot of practice time and so many new players in positions is developing that. But I'm also interested to see what kind of defensive edge this team has, because that's really been the staple of Chris Jan's Aggie teams is what they do defensively. And so much it's going to be on, Johnny McCants, because I'm really not sure the depth they have right now in the front court. Yeah. But it with what he was able to do, stepping up, making some plays late, they have all the pieces. Now it's time to put it together.
Yeah, I think over the last bunch of years they've had an eraser, right? There's been a security blanket back at the rib, right? There's been a rim protector, whether it's been Pascal Siakam or Eli Chua or whoever it's been. There's been a last line of defense, and now it's got to be Johnny McCants. Guys were able to create for themselves. Now I don't know how you do that against and this I don't want to downplay what Arizona Christian was. Again, it's the 9th-ranked team in the country in NAIA, but it's the 9th-ranked team in the country in NAIA. Yeah, they were able to get to the bucket. They got to finish better. But to your point, there's a reason that they practice. There's a reason the Lobos are saying, hey, we don't want to play Boise State this weekend, right? I mean, Lobos, as of now, are playing Boise State on Thursday and Saturday, and there's a reason they're just saying, wait a minute, Boise State's not playing games, and we can't even practice. I mean, we're just now getting it together. So, yeah, they look like a rusted team. But if you watch an Aggie fan, let's get in at 505-246-0610. That's the number to get in today because we're going to go through so much. 505-246-0610. Emails come in, Jeff at 610KNML.com, JJ at 610KNML.com on the Twitter. Follow JJ_JJ Buck, and on the Facebook, the OD in the AM. Your guest list this morning, 8 o'clock. Danny Gonzalez scheduled to be with us, Lobo football coach. Lobos lost 41-27 on Thanksgiving night in Logan in a game. JJ, we'll get into this in the next segment, but in a game that they really had an opportunity. 9 o'clock, John Traub's going to be with us, the general manager of the Isotopes. My goal today, JJ, is to get through this show without crying, to be honest with you. I shed a lot of tears. John's going to come on and talk about Nick LeBeau, who passed away on Friday morning, who former Scorpions general manager and since the inception of the Isotopes, VP of corporate sales, and to me, JJ, I think you know how close I was with Nick, and Addie was. He was family to me. And when I got that call Friday morning, it ripped me. And so we're going to remember Nick a little bit coming up, or Uncle Nicky, as many of you knew her, as Addie knew her. Or knew him. We'll do that at 9 o'clock. But JJ, before we hit break, and we'll get into it in the next segment, your impressions, and I know you did the post-game show. Here they are at halftime. Lobos lead at halftime again. I mean, they give you hope, and that third quarter was just gut-wrenching.
Yeah, that third quarter is a reminder of how far this team and program still has to go. And even in the losses, I think it says a lot about what this team was able to do right out of the gate to all of a sudden raise your expectations, where in back-to-back weeks, you feel like the Lobos let you down. and they weren't favorites. That ended up being like a 9-point line against Air Force. They came in, I think it finished about 6.5, where they were actually favorites against Utah State. And with all the issues, all the questions, we were talking about the Lobos. Once again, we see a team that makes an opposing quarterback look like one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah, and a guy making his first start in that, and that's what was really tough. All right, I'm going to get more into the Lobos when we come back. Got to get into the Cowboys. What the NFL did yesterday by putting the Broncos out like that, it's on the NFL, but it's on the Broncos too. We got to get into the first time that I ever remember, and I think of the first time in history, an NFL team hit the field without a quarterback. How do you do that, Jeff? Not well. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Played over to Madrid, plays it across the box off the dasher. It's settled, shot up by Garcia, trickles in, goal.
Chavez blocked at the rim. And here's Dorian Lewis to Watson.
Shot on and just wide, big deflection, goal.
With his first field goal. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Not a game you can go have 25 turnovers in and win.
Get that out of here, Watson says. Here comes Hodnett all the way. He's blocked in return. Dickey, did he get it off? He did, and he hit it. They're really... Oliveras. Wild three, and it hit.
Another steal nearly by Hiron. It is a steal. Avalos ahead to Hiron. The two-hand hammer by Hiron. I knew he was going to put that one down.
ProView Networks tonight.
District mashup there.
Davidson took it away in transition. Might be time for a jam. Yes.
Oh! Big Barton, watch him, coach. Watch the inbounder.
Duma Sanchez in the corner.
Back to Barton with 2.4 seconds left. Fires for the win.
And he got it!
It's good.
Oh my God!
On the last second shot.
He did! Oh my God!
Banks it in from 25 feet and watch the celebration right in front of us. What a shot by Barton. He was double teamed and somehow found a way to get it in. Ramos to Gaxiola, high window for the win. It's good. It counts. Gaxiola with the game winner for a Driscoll Heritage.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
It's his second field goal. He's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off. Romero, a 3 for...
Set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good... Here's Ramos, step back, high arcing, 20!
But he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, a little kick.
They leave it one more time to Hammer. Up top!
Third and goal from inside the 1. Hall hands it off to Cole, and Bobby powers it in for a Lobo touchdown. Now it's 9-6 New Mexico. Cole in from 1 yard out.
Robert Portnoy on the UNM Radio Network. Lobos had an early lead, led at halftime, and then the third quarter came, and they lose 41-27. They're 0-5, 2 games left. They'll play a home game in Las Vegas against Wyoming. Scheduled for, everything's got to be, you say it's scheduled for, because nothing's certain, and with games getting canceled at the rate they are. And then Fresno State. Jeff, JJ, Micah, J-Pole, and Josh. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. Danny came out and said afterwards that we're a horrible football team, and I saw some of the speak-ups today, and you know, how could he say that? Only a horrible coach would say that, and you know, obviously using different tactics. I don't know. That kind of stuff doesn't bother me, because he's not saying anything to you that he's not saying to them. I know. And I don't know if they're a horrible football team. 0-5 isn't good, obviously, and where they started from. And what we're seeing, JJ, is everything I heard that you expected over the summer. I want a competitive team. They play hard. They play to the end. They fight. They've improved. I know they're not going to win a lot, but then you saw. I think you want to win once. I think you want to win twice. So I think, you know, I'm sensing a little bit of frustration. I watch a team that's improving, but has their lapses, and certainly that third quarter was a lapse.
Yeah, and that's frustration directly from the head coach. His style is not common, you know, for Danny. He's gonna, like you said, he's not going to sugarcoat anything. What he says post game, you know, the stuff that comes out, whether it's this morning or the other media opportunities he has throughout the week, you know, it's what he's telling his team. You know, he's challenging these guys. It's just a little bit different, and this is always going to be a struggle of what's the right thing to say when you're a winless football team, but you're figuring out this is his style, this is who he is. So if you don't like it, then you're going to be frustrated hearing some of those things. But I think the frustration was fair, because they were playing a team who was starting a quarterback that had 33 career snaps. And Peasley, by the way, has some nice traits to him, but still you're playing a guy who has his first career start for a football team that actually had more questions than you do. And yet, when you look at the final scoreboard, it was, wait, which team is with the interim head coach? Which team has a quarterback starting his first career game? And I think that's really where a lot of that frustration stems from, because it was a grind, 13-6 at halftime. You're figuring more of the same. And then third quarter, it was, oh, here's the Lobo defense that can't stop anything over the top. And then especially that 3rd and 5 run where Peasley, you know, has Cam Miller falling at his feet, turns around and starts scrambling to his right, and it's just daylight for 62 yards.
Yeah, on the interim coach thing, I would like to see John Hartwell, the AD, there, give Frank Miley that job. Frank Miley was the interim I didn't feel that long ago. What was it, 3 years ago? When did Utah State beat North Texas? So it was only 2 years ago. Frank Miley was the interim coach when they beat North Texas. I mean, pummeled North Texas in the New Mexico Bowl, and North Texas quarterback went out and was hurt. He was a terrific young quarterback, but I liked Frank a lot. Utah State guy, loves it up there, and now he's interim again, and I think he does a nice job, and it feels like the players respond to him. Trey Hall out, ribs. I mean, we want to sit here and say, okay, well, obviously Tavaka's going to be back. I don't think anything is obvious about that, and we'll talk to Danny about that. I mean, I would hope Tavaka's back from the concussion. He didn't make the trip to Logan, from what I understand, JJ. So now it's Connor Ganal and whatever's after that.
Yeah, and then we get to that point. So we're Lobos and their fourth. This is their fourth-string quarterback. Because Brent Hughes was the other scholarship quarterback, but he hurt his shoulder again over the offseason, so he's not playing. So they're down to their fourth-string quarterback, and somehow, some way, they made it a one-possession game. So I will definitely give that to them on that drive, to where, late in the fourth, about midway through the fourth quarter, actually, they made it 34-27. Mm-hmm. So I'll give them a ton of credit for, with your four-string quarterback, putting together a 9-play, 87-yard drive to get within a score. But still, you go back to earlier, it's that third quarter where it's 13-6, and then you look up, it's 34-13. So the quarterback issues are now, with 2 games left. Tavaka's health is obviously a huge question mark, still not being cleared. What do you do down the stretch? There's not just a guy sitting there. Connor Ganal is your fourth-string walk-on quarterback who's getting an opportunity on like anything that you're expecting this season. And we watch this offense, and the quarterback run game is an important part of it. That was some of the best moments, was Trey Hall running. But now you have your 2 scholarship quarterbacks hurt and out. How do you make that balance when you want to run the football with the quarterback, but yet you're losing these guys? Can that function? Can that work? Or is it just bad luck with this program?
Well, I don't know, but you've got to keep quarterbacks healthy. Trey got hit a lot. I'm hoping Tavaka's back for his. I mean, this is kind of his last run anyway. But just to be able to make some progress. I don't know how much progress you can make going forward, right? You want to use these last 2 games as a springboard, is to create some momentum, to get more reps going into next season, right? And I mean, what can you do with a guy who's going to be a fourth-string quarterback? Who's not going to be the guy going forward, or at least I think that. So it's going to be really interesting to see where they go. Next up, you get a Wyoming team. So elsewhere in the league, by the way, we have one other league game that was able to get played. Hawaii beat Nevada, which was a big win for Hawaii. In this league, it was a big deal. San Jose State is the only other undefeated, but Boise State is still unbeaten in league. San Jose State and Boise State didn't play. And boy, there's a lot of whispering, and not all that whisperish on social media about why Boise State afraid of San Jose State. I'm like, come on, you really think Boise State's afraid of San Jose State? That was going to be one of the best games in the league this year. Honestly,
absolutely. I was looking forward to that game.
Yeah, me too.
On Saturday, I understand the frustration because it's similar to Clemson and Florida State. Like you show up, you're Saturday, you're ready to go, and the game is canceled day of. This isn't a conspiracy. Boise State wasn't scared. It's the challenges that you're dealing with during this time, because if you haven't noticed, Boise State has had more issues with this than anyone else in the conference so far, just in terms of not just positive tests, but it's a contact tracing that is most of the time canceling these games, because much like we saw with Denver Broncos losing the whole quarterback unit the Saturday night, that's what's happening. Someone tests positive, and then you go, all right, who were they with? How close were they with the rest of the players at the position? You have a whole position taken out, and there are requirements of available players needed to play these games.
Yeah, they've got to have X number of players per position to play, to make them competitive, to make them safe, to do all these things. And you're seeing a lot of it. I think Colorado State's lost, 2 already? You're looking at Ohio State's situation in the Big 10, where if they lose another game, they're not going to be eligible for their conference championship game, and then we're going to be looking at a situation, well, are they going to get into the college football playoff even though they couldn't get in their championship game because they didn't play enough games, but the eye test tells you they're one of the best. This is, if ever there was something that said we're making up the rules as we go, making up schedules. San Diego State scheduled the game on Thursday. Their game against Fresno State got canceled because of COVID tracing, and it always feels like the Lobos' next opponent has the week off before because of COVID issues. But San Diego State put together a game in Boulder and went up there and got beat 20-10 on 2 days' notice. They who wants to play, and there was a team in the Pac-12. But everything else got shut down. Colorado State Air Force didn't play. Wyoming did play UNLV on Friday, 45-14. Wyoming's pretty good, I think. But the San Diego State-Fresno State game didn't play. San Jose State-Boise State didn't play. And I mean, when I saw that on Saturday morning, that was when I was bummed about, like you, because I was looking forward to seeing how San Jose State played. They were getting Boise State in their place, and I thought that was going to be as good. I didn't stay up and watch Nevada. Did you watch Nevada Hawaii? I just didn't have that one in me. Did you really?
I did. Team One Sports app, which we used to watch the Lobo game, use it to watch this game on Saturday night. Hawaii was, I will say it, Lobo-like defensively against Nevada. Carson Strong could not make plays downfield. Nevada was forced to run the football a lot. It was a really close game, but Romeo Doubs had one catch for 10 yards. So somehow, some way, Hawaii schemed him out of the game. And then Chevin Cordero is just one tough son of a gun, because once again, this Hawaii passing offense isn't great. They're throwing to like 9-10 different guys, it feels like, but he found a way to move the football. They have a player that has emerged in Cole Turner, who's both running and catching the ball at a really high level, and it was a huge win for Hawaii. That team looks really good Saturday night.
And they beat Nevada. It was Nevada's first loss of the year. Strong only had 168 yards. They only threw the ball 25 times. And Tautoa went for 131 yards rushing. All right, when we come back, it's a wear your mask deal. It is. And I think the Denver Broncos learned their lesson. The NFL gave them that lesson. However we got there, that was embarrassing yesterday. And like, you can blame it on whoever you want, but how you put an NFL football team out there with no quarterbacks, how we get there, and what could have been done, it was embarrassing. We'll get into the NFL next. It's the opening drive on ProView Networks at 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Brought to you by Custom Print and Promos. Most logoed shirts are created equal, but not all printing companies are. Custom Print and Promo.
Finish for Akbayosi. Saved into the hands of Riak, ahead of the pack to Davina Lovato. Up high, down hard for Akbayosi. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess! He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides looking, still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake, double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
Third and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake, head up the middle, got some room. 50, 45, 40, has one man to beat. 30, 25, 10, 5, touchdown. Touchdown, Hope.
Wow.
On a
Option again, he'll keep it. Now he'll pitch it. Comes out to the 30, 25, 20, up the sideline. Still inbounds into the end zone. Let's see.
Touchdown.
Touchdown, Portel.
The outside of running an out route.
Davis in a play action, looking. He's going to go back to Lewis, and Lewis makes a cut, and Lewis still on his feet. Dorian Lewis is in for a touchdown. So Davis is back to toss it. He's got all day. It's one miss, and he's rolling. He's got a guy. Can he get it there? Davis into Luke Weissong.
Hey, we told you he could spin that
Touchdown.
football, and that was a throw right there. I know he's got the win in his back, but
disappointed on a couple levels in that our quarterbacks put us in this position, that our quarterbacks put the league in that position. You know, we count on them to be the leaders of the team and, you know, leaders of the offense, and those guys made a mistake, and that is disappointing.
Broncos coach Vic Fangio. The fault lies on the quarterbacks. They didn't wear their masks. They didn't do what they were supposed to. They were in their room. They trusted each other in their quarterback room. One of their quarterbacks tested positive for COVID, contact tracing, put them in mandatory quarantine, and the fact that they were irresponsible. And I don't care. It's just you can save your mask takes. Honestly, that's what the NFL is trying to do. This is their rule. Again, this comes down to you're an employee of a team and a league, and somebody, you don't get to make the rules. If you want to be employed, you follow them, and they didn't, and so they were irresponsible. And you had an NFL football team that went out yesterday, completed one pass, that didn't have a quarterback, that played a practice squad wide receiver as quarterback. It's almost unfathomable in today's day and age where you can side a Blake Bortles, a Garrett Grayson, whatever, right? I mean, all these guys that run around, that they were in this position. And did, as Kareem Jackson said, of the Broncos, their safety, did the NFL make an example of the Broncos? Yeah, maybe they did. But what I watched yesterday was embarrassing. It was disgusting. It should never be permitted to happen in the NFL, but the NFL permitted it to happen. In fact, made it happen because they had a point to make.
The NFL absolutely made an example out of the Broncos, and I have questions, a ton of questions, not any questions about the rules that are in place. My question is, what's different about New England a few weeks ago and Baltimore right now? Do we know for sure that everything was just happening, like the spread is just spreading and they're following the rules? Is it happening during practice? Because then obviously that's a huge issue.
Yeah.
what was so different about those situations? Because the Broncos were set to play the New England Patriots. They had COVID issues, and that game was postponed. That game was pushed back. Baltimore on a short week, a bunch of players on the COVID list. They're playing Tuesday.
Yeah, and I think what the league is saying is this was blatant irresponsibility. That the fact that in that room that they blatantly didn't follow, and it's not the first time that they have made it very clear. And the league has. The league is, as the season has progressed, as you've had offenders, and they're somewhat paying for other people's wrongs, because as you've had other people break the rules, break protocol, whatever, they have made it very clear, damn it, you will do this. They fined John Gruden $100,000 for not wearing his mask on the sideline properly. They fined other coaches, Sean Payton. They put out edicts, their memos, and they said, look, this, you're going to take this seriously. Damn it, this is how it's going to be. This is how it's going to be. And this, finally, they said enough. I think, to me, that's the difference. And what's going on with the Ravens right now, I don't think they have enough players to play before Tuesday. And I don't know that they found that it was egregious as far as guys just blatantly sitting in a room from me to my computer. I almost said from me to you. That was cute, right? But not wearing their masks. Where I to me, that's what I believe that's what the difference was here. I think this was the league just saying, "Damn it, we told you," and you blatantly disregarded it. You didn't take it seriously, and now maybe this will make people take it seriously. We're going to send a team out there with a kid that hadn't played quarterback since his freshman year at Wake Forest, and figure it out, boys. Figure it out. I picked up Royce Freeman on my fantasy team on Saturday night, all excited that I was going to get quarterback points out of a running back, and I decided not to play him. But I figured it out, and that's what that to me, JJ, that was the difference.
Yeah, it's still, I get it, but I also don't from the NFL standpoint of, I just, you really know for sure that the New England situation in Baltimore is just, oops, sorry. Like, and I think that's what's incredibly frustrating is, okay, the Broncos made a mistake, but you.
No, but they know for sure this one isn't. Yeah. That's the difference.
Okay, but then you put them in a terrible position for your product and them just to prove a point. Oh, there have been others have just been fined. Others have had the opportunity to have it pushed back. I just think it was a bad look for the NFL. It's really challenging times for them to be doing all these things. And yes, there are rules in place, but what they did was essentially, you're in the 17th inning of a game on a Wednesday night, and you're like, did any of y'all pitch in high school? When was the last time you pitched? Oh, 5 years ago.
Find a bullpen catcher. Yeah.
Get on the mound. And with Kendall Hinton, the dude became a folk hero yesterday because there's absolutely no one that's watching that game and going, well, how can this happen? You know how this can happen. This dude started a whole 3 games at college, was like a backup quarterback at Wake Forest, was like, I'm a pretty good athlete. If I want a chance, I got to go to receiver. When the season started, he was making the transition to other parts of his life because he didn't think he was going to have a chance. He was cut by the Broncos, ended up coming back on his practice squad. And this was the whole, hey, you took snaps at quarterback in college? Well, we got 12 hours until we play the New Orleans Saints. Let's go.
Yeah, you can go like this, right? You can clap your hands and run a read. All right, you're going to read that guy coming off the end. And I didn't know who Kendall Hinton was. Did you know the name before Saturday? Did you know who Kendall Hinton was?
No.
Even you didn't know, right? I mean, and he was a starting quarterback in the National Football League yesterday. Look, I am with you. The NFL is going to take responsibility on this, but I think they knew what they were doing. I think they were ready to take the hit on this. What they put out there was embarrassing. To force people to pay to watch that product, well, you didn't force anybody, but people, right, who watched that product, it was garbage. It was embarrassing, and you know, they're up against one of the best teams in the National Football League. By the way, Taysom Hill threw for 78, 83 yards, something like that. I mean, they didn't combine the two quarterbacks for 100 yards passing.
And Sean Payton said after the game, when they found out the Broncos did not have a quarterback, they changed their entire game plan. They're like, we're not going to
tell me I played Michael Thomas, damn it. Why did you tell me that?
Right. And they pretty much said, we're keeping it on the ground. They know that the Broncos aren't going to score. The only score the Broncos had came off a Taysom Hill interception.
And a 1 yard drive.
Like a 58-yard field goal.
Yes.
And so Sean Payton knew. Like, that's why this game's over-under was 36.5 points, and it didn't hit the over.
Yeah, it was brutal. Just flat out brutal. And look, I don't know who you're mad at. Are you mad at the NFL? Or are you mad at your quarterbacks?
Yeah, the answer is both, because a story did come out, and Adam Schefter reported over the weekend that the league is looking into Baltimore's situation for potential team violations. Now, it's maybe not necessarily a room of players you can point at, but I think if you're Denver and you see that story and say the league's looking into Baltimore, and yet they gave Baltimore an extra 4 days.
No. I will tell you that
ridiculously frustrated this morning.
Well, and they pushed back the next game, right? Because Baltimore plays the Cowboys next week, if I'm not mistaken. So they pushed that game back to Monday. So that affected
the Thursday game.
Yeah, so they pushed that game back as well. So they lose their Thursday game. I think if in fact there's if there's a positive in Baltimore today, I do believe they're going to forfeit that game. I believe that Pittsburgh will be awarded that win because of what happened, and it's a gigantic game for the Baltimore Ravens to try to make the playoffs. A huge one. They got nothing left. They're playing with Robert Griffin III tomorrow night if they play. No, look, it's better than what you had. I got it. Yeah, you did take it.
The Broncos asked the NFL if they could sign 2 assistant coaches.
Yeah, they said
to
no.
their roster. Because the thing is, there is a COVID quarantine, so that's why these days you can't sign a dude on Saturday or Friday to play him on Sunday because
they got to get into the which you can understand the precedent. You don't want to start stashing reserve players as assistant coaches. You don't want to start creating assistant coaches positions, and now I'm stashing another player. Oh well, look who I got. There's Johnny Football. Which, by the way, would have been better than what you got yesterday as well. Any of it would have been better. All right, we got to get around the.
Wait, who's your assistant coach? Brett Favre? That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
oh no, he's
Brett Favre. He's starting again, and because he says he's never retiring. We got to get around the National Football League because it's week to week. Somebody explained to me the Raiders. Somebody explained to me the damn Rams, for crying out loud. I mean, it's just awful, right? And it's what I keep telling you. He's not that damn good. And I hear from my Niner fan, one of my good buddies I say good buddies, I hadn't heard from in a couple months, and then all of a sudden, boom, as soon as that damn kick went through, there's my phone buzzing, telling me about the sweep and how awful Goff is. You know what? I'm at a point, and this is going to sound stupid, and you're going to tell me I'm an idiot. I'd almost be willing to try Sam Darnold next year instead of Jared Goff. Who do you think long-term would be a better NFL quarterback in the right situation, Darnold or Goff? I just think at times he's good, but you pressure him. First of all, the Niners own him. But think about that. And let's have that conversation when we come back. 505-246-0610. Holidays are here. We're through Thanksgiving now. Gentlemen, thinking about how you're going to take care of everyone on your list, everyone in your life. Don't forget to take care of you, because you can't take care of anyone else unless you take care of yourself first. If you're not feeling right, if you're dealing with fatigue, low T, erectile dysfunction, call NewMail. Take care of it, fellas. It's a year where everything is seemingly, out of your control. This is something that you can absolutely control. NewMail's right here in Albuquerque. They can help you deal with ED, depression, even hair loss. You just have to call them, 505-652-1688, 505-652-1688, or visit NewMail, NUMALE.com. It's not going to take care of itself. You can't ignore it away. The truth is, it's nothing to be ashamed of. Men hit a certain age, these things are normal. The beauty of NewMail is you can battle normal. You can feel better. 505-652-1688. Enjoy the holiday season, guys. Give yourself the gift of feeling great. Make the call, NewMail, 505-652-1688, or visit NewMail.com and feel better.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Evans has that ball stolen. Jeremy Segura.
Dribble, spin cycle, up and under move. What a pass, wrap around pass.
Harris, Legate, the long bomb, 3 ball.
Oh, great steal by Quinteros, lays it up and scores.
A whole little jump step in the... And look out, here comes Agbayosi. Crawford set. That's blocked. Lansing says, get that out of here. Sister to sister, Marianne Lansing's going to go all the way. Turnaround. Ramos, pump fake, everyone bites. Ramos hits.
Jackson loses it. David Bond back. LAU. Put it down. Dunkalicious. How about it?
Call it as Javi's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's gonna walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. First and goal, it's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez stops.
And Stevens in motion. On the handoff to Mitchell. Look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house. Fly, Cardinals fly. To the other side, provide some protection. And off to Webskowski again. Look out! See you later. Good night. Touchdown, Webskowski. All day. He's going to fire to the end zone. Open man! Touchdown! Wildcats! Not a defender inside.
A little bit.
Skowski on the sideline! Hasta mañana! He's off to the races! Touchdown! Clovis!
Albuquerque this afternoon.
34-24. Late in the third. How about this run? Nice play. Dickerman, he's still on his feet. Touchdown, Wolverine.
Exactly what they want to get yards.
He's going to go for it. He's got a guy towards the end zone. It's grabbed. Touchdown. What a play.
And long here for the Storm. Handoff to, we're going to fake the handoff, excuse me. Davidson on the deep ball. He's got some space, and it's caught. Still on his feet. Touchdown!
send one deep and returnable at the 2. Usually Volcano do either a reverse or a fake reverse, and here it is a reverse. And a move to the outside. There is a lane. Look out! Shot out of a cannon. Rodriguez is going to take it all the way.
A minute 46, Colts out of timeouts. Titans at the 11. Here's Henry on the right side to the 10. Henry to the 5. Henry to the end zone. Touchdown! Titans! That's 3 for double 2. Derrick Henry.
I've been telling you the Titans are the best team in the NFC or the AFC South. And I think they took care of things yesterday with Indianapolis. And Indianapolis beat them 2 weeks ago in Nashville. That was Titans radio. By the way, that first Derrick Henry touchdown, how is that not a pass? Did that look backwards to you, that swing pass from Tannehill to Henry? Says someone who's got Tannehill as his fantasy quarterback, obviously. But how was, anyway. Derrick Henry was terrific. The defense, which I think is, I'm not telling you great, but I think the most underrated part of that Tennessee team really answered the bell yesterday. Tannehill manages. They've got a beast of a receiver, a beast of a runner. Everybody's telling me that there's two teams in the AFC. It's just the Chiefs and the Steelers. And I'm going to tell you, throw Tennessee into that mix.
Because of their explosiveness. And that's what you have to have in a game playing Kansas City or even the Steelers is, we've seen Tennessee, Pittsburgh already this season. That's what I like about the Titans is, you know what, Tannehill, this offense, it can be really explosive. The Colts are beat up defensively. And that was a big difference in this game versus the one a couple weeks ago, because that is their bread and butter. I think the Colts at times have definitely been a top 3 defense in this league. They were far from that yesterday. And that's the unit that has to be playing at the highest level to give that offense, and the questionable now Philip Rivers, who was on and off the field because of his foot injury. You saw Jacoby Brissett making some plays. They did not have that edge defensively, and it allowed Tennessee to be really explosive. From Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown. You had A.J. Brown returning an onside kick for a touchdown there late as well. So this is the Tennessee offense that can wow you, and absolutely overwhelmed Indianapolis. It just had nothing left.
All right, Lance, good morning. I know you felt good about your team going out there with no Quimby. You could have played quarterback yesterday. Good morning, Lance.
Actually, I could have. Coach Sanchez, I just want to let him know we got the whole way, bro. I mean, you're going through the hardest thing I've ever seen anybody do besides Denver yesterday. I mean, you don't even get to come home. You're on the road, and you didn't even have any two-a-days practices. So keep your head up, man, and try not to get too hard on the guys. I mean, it's just, you'll get there, man. I just know it. I could see the effort in the team. And the other thing is, you get hurt pulling junk what Denver did, or the NFL. I mean, those guys can't play quarterback, and I think Philip Lindsay got hurt. I had to turn it off. I saw it at the bottom. But that's how guys get hurt, and then the line, they just give up because we don't have a quarterback anyway. We're not even going to win, and, because they were just rushing right in to kill the poor, red shirt or team guy. And so I'm disappointed at, not only the NFL, because there's guys you watch tonight. They're sitting on the bench next to each other or hugging each other after a play in the field with no mask on, and they're sitting right next to each other on the bench, and that's what Denver did. I guess they just got caught with the guy, but C2, if they would have tested him on Saturday, they could have played like today or Wednesday, but they didn't give them a chance to do that. If they would have, negative, what I mean, for the disease. And they didn't even get that chance to do that. I think that's lousy. If you're a fan of the NFL and a Bronco fan, a lot of people are laughing about it. But, they put those guys in danger's way. And, Coach, I hope you're listening, man. We got your back. Ow!
See you. Lance called it 246-0610. It's a good point. In there was a good point, JJ. there could have been injuries. You're right. I mean, that kid could have got hurt. Again, Kendall Hinton. Is that his name? Hinton? Never heard of him until yesterday. But, I mean, people could have got hurt. I'll give it to Sean Payton for modifying his game plan because the Saints probably could have put up a 60-burger on him yesterday if they wanted to. With the time of possession, if they really wanted to dial up all kinds of different schemes and blitzes and beat them up and steal, they could have done some damage.
They could have, and they realized their best option was to run and run and run again. And, yeah, they had no doubt that they were going to win that game, man. 31-3.
All right, Lobo football coach Danny Gonzalez is scheduled to be with us next. Lobos lost 41-27 in Logan on Thanksgiving. Conversation with UNM's football coach when we return on the opening drive and ProView Networks on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Lovato driving. They're going to count it. Gallegos. Ooh, a little spin and a finish. Natalia Chavez. Good spin. Takes a.
Ramos. Nice jump stop through the.
Play with the gambling a little bit. Oh, there's a.
Hill, little step, high window.
Got the second. To the middle. Here we go. 3.9. It's Cooper's going to run with it. Cooper's going to swing it out to Lowry. Portillo couldn't get it off, and Clovis goes in. It's waved off. He did not get it off in time. Portillo.
Reverse layup. Gallegos spins. Window. Finishes.
There's a run coming from
lazy pass. Here comes Crawford. It might be showtime. Sam. Shoot. They'll get one off, and it'll count high off the window.
Yep. Oh my gosh.
There's the long three.
Boom.
Bang. Martinez will beat the buzzer. Got it to go.
Ford driving kick. Three's in the air. It's good. Pass on the nice block by Hernandez Crawford.
And Brown in the transition. But why not, Steve? Is Corbalan's going to go and he puts it away. And Corbalan wants to put it down. Here comes Las Cruces. Brown, you can't leave him alone. Put it down.
Gershon in transition. 3-on-2. Gershon going to go all the way. Whoa, Morgan.
Thanksgiving night in Logan, Utah. Lobos had a lead at halftime, 13-6 over Utah State. And the Utags scored 4 touchdowns in the first 10 minutes, actually 9 minutes and 43 seconds of the second half of the third quarter, and beat the Lobos 41-27. Trey Hall left that game with a rib injury. Lobos were essentially down to the 4th-string quarterback by the end of that game. Next up, they will get Wyoming at quote-unquote home, Sam Boyd Stadium in Las Vegas. It's the opening drive. Jeff, JJ, we'll get back to your phone calls in just a bit. Lobos had the lead at halftime, 13-6, and then fought back, made it a 7-point game in the fourth quarter before succumbing 41-27. The head football coach of the University of New Mexico and Jolly Rancher guy, not candy corn guy, Danny Gonzalez, joins us now from Las Vegas, actually Henderson, Nevada. Good morning, Danny. Hope you all had a good Thanksgiving. How you doing?
Good morning. We the Thanksgiving obviously didn't end the way we wanted it to. But there's a lot of things in life to be thankful for, and I mean, we're still thankful that we have the opportunity to compete and try and build a football program, and that's the objective. How are you guys doing?
I think we're good. We're coming off a good long weekend, Candy Talk on Wednesday, and by the way, thank you for participating in that. That was, and getting Paul to participate in that. Appreciate your urging on that. That was good.
You know, on Wednesday morning before we left, I was in the weight room and I was listening to you guys, and I can't stand candy corn. I really can't. My wife and my kids love it, and I tell them they're crazy still. But I'm a hard candy kind of guy, and I mean, I guess the hard kind of stuff. And Jolly Ranchers, and I agree with Eddie. Watermelon's pretty fantastic, but I really believe the Jolly Rancher Blow Pop is the way to go because you get a little gum at the end, but we got a lot more important things to worry about than candy, but that was a fun conversation on Wednesday morning.
Yeah, I'm going to find that. Appreciate that. All right, so when you go back and look at the tape, it was really that third quarter, the first 9 minutes and 43 seconds that swung that whole thing. The difference was what, now that you look back at it?
Well, I mean, I think that there's, in football, good football teams and bad football teams, they kind of create their own destiny. And good football teams, balls bounce their way. You don't give up an assignment error for a block punt. You don't get beat on a post route when you should intercept it. You don't miss a tackle when you're unblocked. And those are the kind of things that we're doing to ourselves right now. And I think I said it last week, when something goes bad, we just really struggle with adversity. It's like, oh, here we go again. And instead of just, you make a mistake, you move on, and you're better the next play, we just don't do that. And so the good thing that we had since we played on Thursday, we had Friday, Saturday. We have to give the kids an off day during the week. So Friday was their off week for last week. And then we were able to meet with them on Saturday, but we were able as a coaching staff to go through and look at the first 5 games and the stuff. And sometimes as a coach, you get caught up in the scheme and stuff and trying to get things done, and you don't realize the ones that are, if there's guys that are making more mistakes than they should be, then they shouldn't be playing as much. And so it gave us an opportunity to kind of fine tune some of those things. And then we started practice yesterday towards Wyoming, but we make mistakes. We are self-inflicted wounds, and we don't get over them. I mean, I've been around DBs that give up a long play, and you wouldn't even know when they get on the sideline. It's like, son of a gun, he got me this time. I'll get him. It ain't happening again. We don't have that attitude yet, and we're still trying to get them to understand that part of it.
Danny Gonzalez, Lobo football coach, is with us on the opening drive.
Danny, how is Trey doing, and what is your quarterback situation right now?
Trey has a CT scan today to make sure that they didn't miss anything in there. The x-rays that we took there at the stadium were not very conclusive. Now he's moving around good, and he's I don't know if you've ever had bruised ribs, but I've broken my sternum. It's very painful just to kind of breathe and stuff. So he was there yesterday. He was at practice, did not participate in practice. Neither him nor Tavaka did. They were both out there helping Connor and Isaiah. So right now, if we were to play a game today, Connor Ginal will be our starter, and Isaiah Chavez from Rio Rancho High School will be the backup. Hopefully by tomorrow, we'll know more. I'm hoping that Tavaka practices tomorrow. But until we get out there, I won't know. They're going to see the doctors this afternoon, and then we'll have an idea tomorrow when we get out there. But the way Connor came in, he gave us a chance to be back in the ball game. I mean, if we can make on a 3rd and 5, when you blitz 6 guys and you can't even touch the quarterback, but you have an unblocked guy, I mean, you got to get that fixed, because there's no way. I mean, on all the defensive calls and stuff in the time that we've been in this scheme, you run the defense that we did, never in my wildest dreams would that dude rush for a 62-yard touchdown. So obviously there's some things we've got to fix with Dan, and I mean, guys got to make plays, and so we'll keep pounding that until we get it done.
And Danny, obviously these guys, they want to show you that they're tough and they can be leaders of your football team. Is there anything that they can do, or is it just you're playing football, man? It's a contact sport. You're going to take hits. Things are going to happen when it comes to the quarterback run game, because it is an important part of your offense.
Well, there's two folds to that. We are, I think the quarterback is your most important position, especially on offense. I mean, if you don't have a guy that can lead, you're going to be in trouble. We are in the process of putting in and defining our culture. And you hear coaches say it all the time, oh, you got to change culture, you got to change culture. It's not so much that we're changing whatever they did here before. That has nothing to do with us. Our culture is, what are we trying to define and who are we trying to be as a football team? Okay, it doesn't mean what was done here before was wrong, right, or indifferent. It has zero reflection on what we're doing. And so this year, knowing who we have, I mean, I think Tavaka was coming into it. He proved that he could do some of the things we did, and he took a vicious hit. And then Trey, we're not trying to save anybody. We're trying to set an identity of who we're going to be. Now, 3-4 years down the road, are we going to be a team that runs their quarterback 90% of the time? Probably not. And if we are, we're going to be in trouble, because you're going to be playing with your fourth-string quarterback every week. And that's a coaching fault. But right now, those guys understand what we're trying to build and what we're trying to establish. And I'm so proud of Trey Hall. That young man throws his body around like a freaking linebacker. It's awesome. He doesn't care how he gets hit. He doesn't care who hits him. He tries to get as much positive yards as he can, and the shot he took to the ribs was a pretty dang good shot. And so we're going to continue to move forward with creating the identity that we're going to be around here, because we're going to be the toughest team in this league. And part of that comes with what we're doing right now on offense. Now, as we get forward, it won't be that way, because I don't think you can play the way we've been playing with our quarterback and make it through a full season and be a championship team that we expect to be.
Danny, you said after the game, we're just not a good football team. When you look back on it, I know that was probably a lot of emotion, and it was right after the game. You've seen improvement. I know you have, because I have. I think anybody who's watched it, it's not consistent enough to win a football game yet. But when you look back on it now, do you still feel that way, or do you just feel like that was a stretch where you didn't play well? You weren't a good football team in that stretch.
No, my true opinion of the football teams that I've been around and what we're trying to do, I do think we're a bad football team. I really do. We're obviously 0-5. We don't know how to win. We kill ourselves in certain situations. There has been improvement from game 1 to game 5, and so there's an interesting thing in our league. Either our league there's some parity in our league that there's not a dominant team. Because going into the Nevada-Hawaii game, I thought Nevada and San Jose, in my opinion, are the best two teams in our league. Now, we haven't played Boise, and I've only seen them on tape, and they didn't play on Friday night. For whatever reason, they didn't play. But those two teams, we were with San Jose, 24-21 in the fourth quarter, and we had an opportunity to beat Nevada. So we're not that far away, and I still think we're a bad football team. So if we can get some things shored up, we've been competitive in all 5 games. We're not here to be competitive. We're here to try and win, and obviously we don't know how to do that. But we've had an opportunity to win every single game. I mean, we've been ahead in 3 of 5. We don't come out and, I mean, I hear people ask me all the time about, well, are you making the right halftime adjustments? On Thursday night, it had nothing to do with halftime adjustments. We had a 9-minute stretch where we give up 28 points. I've never been around that. And so we didn't stop the bleeding and bringing them up on the sideline. And maybe I'm not one that believes in, you bring the entire team up and you win one for the Gibber speeches. I don't think those work, because the work has already been done Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in practice. But we called up the defense, and it was, hey, you guys have given up 3 touchdowns on the last 3 drives that you've been out there, and you got a choice. You can either buck up and start playing, and just like the Air Force game, if you start making some plays, we'll have a chance. And then we go 3 and out, and then we give up the long run. I mean, it's still self-inflicted wounds. We've gotten more competitive. We've made improvement, but we're not by any means a good football team. I really think we're a bad football team, and I told our team that. I told them when I took this job, I will never lie to you. I will be 100% truthful in what I feel. Does it mean I'm always right? It doesn't. But I have an opinion, and right now that opinion is we're not very good because we don't do the little things to make ourselves better. We don't do the things that are attentive to detail in meetings and practice that will give us that opportunity to win. And until we decide 100%, until we have the leadership on our team that when a guy doesn't do something right, the other teammates are willing to call them out, which we kind of don't have right now because I think they're all worried about trying to hurt each other's feelings. Until we get that, it's going to continue to be a struggle to get better. Now, it's going to happen. And when those transitions start to happen, then you start winning games. Now, if we can just win a dang game, some of those things will happen faster because they believe more in the process. I think they believe in what we're doing. We just give in way too easy when we come across adversity.
What do you do with the last couple of games? Is this, I mean, obviously you want to win a game. I understand first and foremost, let's win a game. But I got to believe you're using this to build on the future. Can you do that if you don't have one of those two quarterbacks back?
We can. And just like I thought the way Connor came in on Thursday night and competed his tail off, and you can see his deficiencies, but that didn't, I mean, he sat back there in the pocket a couple times too long. He took a heck of a lick on the speed option and got right back up. I mean, you know, other than the fact that that 9-minute stretch and stuff, our kids have prided themselves in not having to be taken off the field by a trainer. And for the first time, we had a trainer and doctor run out on the field, and that upset me as much as the kid, because the kid got up and he finally limps off the field. I yelled at Bob. I'm like, hey, man, give them a chance. Let them get themselves off before we go out there and baby them. And Leke Asanego, the offensive lineman, he sprained his ankle. They taped him back up, and he went back in. If you can go back into a football game after getting taped up or adjusted, there's no reason for anybody to go out there and pick you up off the field. And so Bob was like, oh, no, I got you, Coach. We just want to make sure. I said, I know. They'll know. If they're laying there almost dead, we'll go get them. They'll be fine. And so those are the things that we're going to continue to establish. The self-scouting that we did over the last couple of days to see if we're playing guys too much or if there's other guys that maybe deserve more playing time because they've been in a limited role. They've been statistically productive. Now, the other side of that statistically productive is if they're not doing things right in practice or if they're getting blown off the ball but they're making an occasional play here and there or their plays are off the ball, then you really have to evaluate the whole body of work. Are they doing it enough to give you an opportunity to earn reps in a game? So we're going to give some guys some different chances, some younger guys. We're going to continue to build. I think this entire season has been building our identity and building for what we want to be. So those things will be focused. But first and foremost, the number one focus is to go in there and try and beat Wyoming, who is a very, very physical football team, rushed for 400 yards against UNLV, and it's a great challenge. And our kids will accept the challenge. If something goes wrong during the game, we have to be better at just getting over it and moving on to the next play. And that's going to be a sentiment going forward also, so that one of these last two games that we have, we find a way to win so we can end that damn losing streak, we can lose that darn losing streak that they showed on ESPN the other night, the company of those other schools. We need to get rid of that stuff so we can build something else.
All right, Danny, appreciate the time. Hopefully you get one of your quarterbacks back. Hey, lastly, Tavaka. So what's different? Is this a different kind of a concussion? I mean, as far as whatever you can tell, I mean, I know there's stuff you can't say. As far as the lingering piece of this, I mean, do you expect to have him back? How's he feeling?
I think he's feeling better. I know he wants to play, and that's the positive. We ask those kids, and the doctors are very diligent about being honest with. They fill out they basically have to take a baseline test. We take a baseline test with all of our kids at the very beginning, and then they continue to compare the baseline test. It's a different series of questions, so that it's not something they can memorize. It changes every time, but it gives you a general idea of if they're back to where they were when we first did that test. And yesterday's performance on it was really, really good. So I'm a little bit more optimistic this week. Last week, from the beginning of the week, they were just really concerned. And if the doctors are concerned, it doesn't matter. I mean, you're never going to go to a kid and say, hey, you better do this if you want to play. Now, 20 years ago, that might have been different. But with all the science and all the education that we have on it now, I mean, Tavaka's a young man that's got a long life to live. So you want to make sure that we don't make a mistake on this. I was very optimistic yesterday. The symptoms are significantly less than what they were, or really gone. So I'm hoping that we can get him back to practice tomorrow. If he's not practicing by Wednesday, though, I don't think there's any way that we can get him ready to play on Saturday, just from the clearance standpoint. So the positive is, if he comes back, I know he wants to. He's trying hard. He's doing everything, all the extra stuff that they're asking him to do. He was at practice yesterday and was being very vocal, which I think is a really positive sign. So hopefully we'll have him back. But whether it's Connor Janal or Isaiah Chavez, I'm really just excited for him. I mean, Connor was excited after the game. I was proud of him because it was his first live action in almost 3 years. And he came in a pretty bad situation where we're down almost 3 touchdowns, and we get within a touchdown with 7 minutes to go. So he did a good job of coming in, and Coach Warhauer and them did a nice job of him staying calm and giving us a chance to get back in the game. I mean, it's crazy to me. 7 minutes to go, as bad as that third quarter was, we're down by a touchdown and have them in a 3rd and long and screw it up. So we'll continue pushing along. I appreciate you guys having me on. We get the opportunity to compete 2 more times, and I'm grateful for everybody that's given us the opportunity to be out here in Henderson, and it'll be a lot of fun.
All right, be well. Always appreciate the conversation. Thanks, Danny. Good luck on Saturday.
Thanks, guys. We look forward to it, and go Lobos.
See you. Danny Gonzalez, the head football coach at UNM, a ton there. First and foremost, he's a Jolly Rancher guy. I want to have a conversation. We'll get into what he said when we come back, and you can certainly react to that at 505-246-0610. 888-922-0610. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Moreno extra pass, and Watson. Out with it, Gallegos, and he's going to run all the way. Window, yes! Able to get out of it. How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham, and it...
I mean, Ramos' hand.
Ramos puts it up, beats the buzzer!
Boy, Jefferson wide open.
Jefferson to Daraji! Into Watson with the jam!
Another steal by Davino Lovato, and here comes Agbaiosi. Lob, 2-hand hammer. You knew that was coming. Devils is all over the place. Heck about the lob to Agbaiosi, the 1-hand hammer.
Put up. And a drive from Parham. Ramos wants another.
here. Martinez shoots, he scores.
Cut into it. Had some nice looks at the rim. Win. Inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer for Murillo.
Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Comes to the far side post. Shot on and goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's gonna go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. Ramos got it. Look out. Ramos, can he chase it down? It was a freebie. Saved it. And then stolen. And somehow Hasbury's got it back. Handoff. Watson.
Stripped. Danion stripped him. Come Highland the other way. Win up top to the big goal. Here he comes.
For the lead. Got it. What a great game plan. Look at this.
Agbayosi throws it down.
Football team, but you heard we are an improved football team from head coach Danny Gonzalez. So what does that mean? I think that's a frustrated coach who's used to winning, who's been around winning for the majority, if not all, of his coaching career, and is frustrated in doing the things that he knows that works, and they're not winning. And he's a young coach, and he wants to taste a victory like you do. It's the opening drive. Jeff, JJ, Micah, J. Pull, and Josh. JJ, a theme. What jumped off the page to you, if anything, there?
What really stood out to me is him pretty much saying, one, they have to run the quarterbacks right now, but they're not in the business of worrying about that. It's about establishing just kind of that physicality, the mentality of the football team, and of course, the quarterback's been the forefront of it. With Tabaka being challenged by Danny this offseason, he rose to the occasion, won the starting job. Unfortunately, took a helmet-to-helmet hit, and then Trey Hall the last 2 weeks. The Air Force game took a ton of contact. Obviously, Utah State got to him, the rib injury, now a CT scan today, but setting the tone with the quarterbacks, not something that you can do long term, but obviously something that they thought they had to do right now with this football team. And also just thinking back, the last 2 weeks of that line, they still have a long way to go. Recruiting, player development, coaching, etc. It's why they're a winless football team, and it's the first year of this entire coaching staff. But the third quarters against Air Force versus the third quarter against Utah State. And that's that line of being close, but yet so far. It's the defense was challenged. Yeah, they were behind. They create the turnovers. Flip it, they are ahead in a one-possession game, still a long way to go. Boom, 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 3 quick strikes over the top, and you're staring at another loss.
Yeah, no, it's really where it is. All right, we got one line open, 2460610. Let's go. Josue. Good morning, Hoser. You're on at the opening drive. How you living?
Man, I'm living large, baby, living large. And I think Coach Gonzalez has finally figured out a way to integrate that coaching style that you had back in the 70s, 80s, that mentality without, with incorporated with the science, with the new stuff. Yes, of course, you have to be careful with, you can't take away their water for so long. But he's found a way to really get in there and just maybe, dial up that mental toughness. Man, that thing he said about the guy that, we'll come get you if you're really hurt off the field. I mean, I was like, ooh, I can't believe he just said that. Like, if you can get up, shake it off and walk off that field, man, that is some good stuff right there, fellas. Because, and I've heard other people say that, especially like I see it when my boys, when I'm playing outside and they fall down and they want to cry and they're like, oh, Dad, I'm just like, hey, it's all right. Just get up. It'll go away. And it does. It's amazing what that does. And I'm just, man, I'm pumped. I can't tell you how refreshing it is to hear that. And honesty, I mean, that's the thing. You know, we're always afraid to say something because we're going to hurt somebody's feelings. But, hey, if you really think about it, if you're the guy receiving that and you know that it's the truth, why are you going to have your feelings hurt? I mean, yes, it hurts because somebody's criticizing you and is telling you your weaknesses. But, man, that is a way to get something fired up. I'm pumped, boys.
That's good. All right, Josue, thanks. 2460610. What did he say? You know, if you're almost dead, we'll come get you. So what he said.
Yeah, if you realize that you can't get up and walk off the field, then I think there is something to what Hoser is saying. You know, having that balance of Danny is definitely an old school coach in a new school world. And you're seeing, you know, the blend of the two. You know, trying to have that defensive, physical mindset with a new look offense, and it's going to take some time.
Rudy, good morning. Hope you had a good weekend. How are you, Rudy?
Hey, I'm doing good. You know, Thursday was. My take on it is this: the last 2 years, and this isn't taking anything away from what Coach Davey did, but once he was hamstrung by the investigation, by all the Title IX stuff, by the suspension, I just think there came a point where Coach Davey just said, kind of do what you want to do, guys. You know, try to win a game, and we're going to be there for you. And then once he had the heart attack, well, you know, that was pretty much it. And so I think what's happened for 2 years is the players have gotten used to just doing whatever they want, and there's nothing wrong or right. It's just there. And that doesn't work, and it doesn't win football games. And Thursday was the perfect example. You don't have to give up those passes, but nobody wanted to compete. And I think that was what happened for Lobo football the last 2 years is, you know, you get your butt kicked and you go, okay, so what? And I felt bad for Cam Miller because he was right there. He makes that tackle. UNM gets the ball back, and it's a different ball game. Maybe they don't score. Maybe Connor Janelle doesn't get the job done, but I appreciated his toughness. And I'll tell you what, Trey Hall is as tough as old shoe leather, isn't he? He took a beating and kept getting back up, and I'm very impressed with that young man.
Yeah, old shoe leather's tough too. Yeah, I agree with you. He's been getting beat up and knew he had to play and knew he had to play at a level that he had to up it a little bit. Yeah, I think all that's right.
Yeah, and you know, better times are ahead, and I couldn't agree more with Josue. I mean, this is going to be a great football program again. And I was sitting there thinking about MTXE. Do you remember that, Jeff? MTXE?
I'm not sure I do.
Mental toughness, extra effort. Those were the 4 letters that Franchione used, and he actually had a banner that we used to hold. And the last thing the team saw before they hit the field was MTXE. Switching gears, there's no MTXE on Michigan's team, and I think the handwriting's on the wall. Look for Harbaugh to land with the Detroit Lions. Their practice facility is exactly 10 minutes from his home in Ann Arbor, and they couldn't do any worse. And I don't know if the Lions could do any better, but it's time for Jim to go. 0-5 against Ohio State, 3-3 against a woeful Michigan State program. Has never been in a Big Ten championship game. You know, that's. I mean, you can try to wake up the echoes of Bo Schembechler, but that's not Bo Schembechler football. And I'm really embarrassed for the University of Michigan right now.
All right, man. I think that's a place where he might land, and I appreciate the call, Rudy. Thanks. Harbaugh to the Lions, does it make sense to you? I mean, everybody's yelling the NFL guy. I don't know that I would want him coaching my team right now. He's an NFL guy, not a college guy. I don't know. I mean, what's happened there is horrible. But maybe that makes sense. I don't know how Lion fan would feel because so many of them are Michigan fans.
I think Harbaugh gets one more shot at an NFL job, even with how it looks like it's going to end at Michigan.
I mean, it's not ending well. By the way, you brought up Dennis Franchione. I saw Coach Fran last weekend, not this last weekend, the weekend prior. He was in town, saw him, spent a little time with him, and he looks good. And it was actually really cool to catch up with him. So forgot to tell you that. All right, we'll take this quick break. Got 2 lines open, 246-0610. 246-0610, wanting to get in. You can respond to what Danny had to say. Anything of the weekend's open. Did you watch Tyson and Roy Jones Jr.? I did not.
I didn't, but the people seem to enjoy it.
I tell you what they did. John Traub at 9 o'clock, we're going to remember Nick LeBeau. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM at AM 670 Sports Animal.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, backed by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Ramos wants another.
Opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores.
Cut into it. Had some nice looks at the rim. Win. Inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer from Murillo.
Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Comes to the far side post. Shot on and goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's going to go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. Ramos, get it. Look out. Ramos, can he chase it down? It was a freebie. Saved it. And then stolen. And somehow Hasbury's got it back. Handoff. Watson.
Get it stripped. Danion stripped him. Come Highland the other way. Win up top to the big goal. Here he comes.
For the lead. Got him.
What a great game plan. Look at this. Agbayosi throws it down.
Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy, and it's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
Hand it off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles. Look out. Chavez up the sideline. Stays in bounds. Touchdown. Volcanovic.
That replay to
Yeah,
just
gotcha.
get the measurement. I mean,
Smith's got a fire on first down, and he's on the outside. There's a lot of room for Brad Thomas. A move, and he's set free. It's into the end zone. Touchdown. So it goes.
He'll run with it. Stumbling. Gets down into the end zone. And looking to throw it. And he throws it in the end zone. Caught!
First and 10 from the 11. And spin move for Smith. Push the B button. Dance into the end zone.
I'll never call a fighter a bum again. I took my youth for granted. And then this actual event made me find out what I really was made out of, because they really beat me to death.
Mike Tyson. That's right. Iron Mike back in the ring this weekend against Roy Jones Jr. Love to hear your thoughts. I didn't see it. We opted to watch, I don't remember what we watched, but it was something else. What the hell did we watch Saturday night? Doesn't really matter, does it? Oh, yeah, it was actually really good. But I'd love to hear those who thought it.
Well, it's there was so much, like, I forgot the match happened on Friday when I was consumed with college football and basketball, so I didn't see what happened with Mickelson, Barkley, Steph.
Oh, then there was that.
I totally forgot about that. I didn't see that.
That was awesome.
Saturday night, though, the social media, I was following along because, you know what, was I going to pay for that fight? Absolutely not. But did it make people happy? Did it entertain the masses? It absolutely did. You had Jake Paul, Nate Robinson, Snoop Dogg doing his thing, Mike Tyson, Roy Jones in the ring. You know what? If you enjoyed it and you had some fun, we need that sometimes. It's just like talking about candy on a Wednesday, and that's what it was Saturday night for a lot of people. Was it any surprise that they walked out of there with a draw? No. You're just happy that no one was stretchered out of that boxing ring Saturday night. I'm not sure if Nate Robinson has stood up yet. That was a little tough for him to handle when he had the whole basketball world behind him, and then they're like, uh-oh, the dude just walked into a brick wall.
Some say he's still laying down in that ring to this day.
Might still be. He might still be. All right, we got all. I forgot about the match on Friday. That was awesome, too, to watch. Charles Barkley figured out his game. Let's hit the phones. Got two lines open, 246-0610. Leo, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Morning, Leo.
Hey, good morning. No, I was just going to say about that quarterback situation with the Lobos. When was the last time we've had a quarterback that's played as a starter 2 or 3 years in a row, you know?
Graham Lee back in like 97.
Man. They were after him. They kept pounding him. I don't think if I had a son, I wouldn't want him to play for UNM. He might get killed. And then that last quarterback, that freshman that comes in, right away they I guess, I don't know what they call that when they hit him in the head with the helmet to helmet. Mm-hmm. That was probably done purposely, just to intimidate him. You know?
Yeah, I don't know if it was done on purpose, but it's a fair point.
I felt bad for those guys, man. Those guys were running.
No, Leo, appreciate it. Thank you, Leo. Yeah, it's good. JJ, we've had these conversations in regards to UNM quarterbacks, and I think we've gone back to 97. Graham Lee, who was quarterback who you knew was there every week, and even he in 97 in the WAC championship game was hurt, and Eric Jaworski played when they lost to Colorado State. I think Graham came back for the Inside.com Bowl, but it's been an issue around here for a long time.
And I understand the frustration because you watch college football, you watch football, athletic quarterback run game can be an important part of the offense, especially when you want to run the football the way the Lobos do. That's been some of their best gains is just straight quarterback powers. You know, Trey Hall had 2 big third down conversions in this game on straight quarterback runs. But then it also puts your quarterback in that position to take a ton of contact. And he's absolutely right. Connor Janal, the drive that they scored on, he took a massive hit towards the end of it. They were running the speed option to the right, and he kind of stumbled a little bit and then pitched it, so that's when his level dropped right to the defender and just took a massive shot.
Edward, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Hi, Edward.
You know, that event was vastly entertaining Saturday night. My son and a few of his friends ponied up for it because I wasn't going to drop a grant on it, a grant meaning $50, but I rolled over there. We had rappers and former dunk champions and cotton candy vendors, and they had everything under the sun there. And let me say this about Nate Robinson. He will forever be a meme. Like crying Jordan, that was awesome. Just to get taken out like that, and put to sleep, like I say, it was vastly entertaining. I think they paid Tyson $10 million for that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he got 10, and Roy got like 2 or 3. Yeah.
10 million bones, man. And yeah, it was fun to watch. I'd rather see that than some of the other fights. A couple of things on the NFL. The Denver Broncos situation. Not only do they put people in jeopardy, it was a tough watch, right? And I give the kid credit for going out there, but it offsets the competitive balance of the league. I would be pissed if I was Green Bay. I'd be pissed if I was Seattle, because if you're putting an uncompetitive product out there, and those teams are fighting for the number 1 seed in the NFC, and it is what it is. At any given day, injuries happen. I get it. But you can't roll that product out there from a safety perspective, and precedents had been set earlier in the season a few times, and they violated that, and it was just bad. They shouldn't have played that game. If anything, cancel the game and let more teams into the playoffs, which I think is one of the options they're discussing. We'll see how that plays out. Boy, there was some bad losses this weekend, starting with your Rams, Jeff. That was bad. I mean, they should have, and I was on them. I was feeling good about the Rams, and I'm rooting for them. But that and the Raiders, just to get smoked after they play the Chiefs really tough, it just kind of shows you. I know we say week to week, but there's 5-6 weeks left. And last year at this time, we saw the Ravens where they had an offense that no one could stop them, and they drilled New England, who was undefeated at the time, and more like, this team is clearly a favorite. They couldn't win a playoff game last year. And I just think there's going to be a lot of momentum shifts in the next 4 to 5 weeks. Tampa Bay continues to be stubborn and try to play a scheme with the long ball, and they played like trash yesterday. And there's a reason why they play like trash, per JJ's point, right? The defense put them in a position, but I just don't understand. And then trying to play the cheetah one-on-one and one-on-one coverage, which is a sin out there, and they got torched for 200 yards in the first quarter, and they lose by 3. The game was never in doubt, though. It wasn't a very competitive game, and the Chiefs have the best player in the league, and if you tiered out the NFL, there's the Chiefs. It's really not even the Chiefs. It's Mahomes, and then there's a second tier of a bunch of teams that are kind of grouped together, and it's going to be fascinating to see how this thing plays out. But yeah, there was some really, really bad losses yesterday, and it's going to. Oh, by the way, Arizona, and I'm rooting against the Patriots to lose so we get a better draft pick. How in the world do they go to New England and get beat by the Patriots, who have an inept offense that I just don't understand it. But
because it's a week-to-week league.
Harbaugh, real quick, I do like the Lions, but let me tell you, I think he may get the Bears job. The Bears are going to move off their coach, and Atlanta's an attractive job as well. All 3 of those programs need a quarterback. But I do like the Lions, but I think he'd be more adept to take the Bears job if it opens up. Have a great day, guys.
See you, man. How about Jarrett Patterson scoring 8 touchdowns for Buffalo in one game? I mean, there were some numbers.
Dude, Maction is insane. If you look at college football, and the Maction scoreboards week to week are outrageous. 70, 8 touchdowns.
8. Like what Tyreek Hill did was crazy with his 200 and whatever yards, but 8 touchdowns in a game. And by the way, and I know we got a break. Like, God bless Sarah Fuller, and I think that's great that she went out and kicked off for Vanderbilt. But like one of the network news, the first woman to ever play in a major college football game. I don't know. Katie United played in a bowl game. Wasn't that major? Why was Katie getting absolutely overlooked and disrespected because this woman kicked off in the second half for Vanderbilt when Katie went out and actually scored and did it against, I believe it was Oregon State, wasn't it? In a game in which they're a power conference team, aren't they? Like where? Tell me what I missed with that whole story.
You missed the research being done before they ran with that story.
It's another. Oh, the Aggies played Arizona. This woman is the first football player to play in a major college. No, that's just wrong. It bothered me because I'm such a I think the world of Katie. All right, 505-246-0610. 9 o'clock this morning, John Traub's going to be with us. I got a phone call on Friday morning. Thought we were going to talk about the Aztecs and the Bruins, and it went south, and it just had me in such a bad place ever since. We're going to remember Nick LeBeau, who was a giant of a personality, imperfect man, but a giant of a personality in this community. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 6 to the Sports Animal.
It's okay to do some things halfway.
Ramos, rise and fire. He's fouled.
You know, he used to coach for Del Norte. And
here's Voss all the way with the finish. He'll get the... Behind the back of the dribble. Trying to go up with the right hand. He changed hands in midair. And Hotnet sent it away. Wynn doing a really good job denying Chavez. BC hasn't got the ball. Oh, Yeku. Oh! Working against Watson. Oh, look at the spin move.
Ball's loose. DJ Bustos brings it up. Bars Tompkins, alley-oop. How about it? That was redunculous.
Turnover. Cable to the big fella might try to jam on home.
let's get a little closer.
Oh, instead it's a gorgeous pass.
Here's what he'll
just shoot it.
He's going to go all the way.
He's going to fire at the buzzer, and he hits.
Great pass, Hadbury, and thank you very much.
Tie in the district. Inside, fly, Eagles.
Chavez uses some athleticism. And then Morris down low, able to finish. You called it, Steve, in 10 seconds. And look at this, stripped, stolen Watson. Christian Lucero beats the buzzer. Here's Ian Chavez, the sharpshooter. Got it.
Could have said that any better. He answered the question. He
On
got another one.
steal at the buzzer. Back to back for Chavez.
Patterson on the left hip of Kyle Van Treese. Handoff, Jarrett starts to the left, up the middle, and he's in for touchdown number 7. Patterson. Jaret Patterson, 11 yards, now 319 in the game, and a new Mid-American Conference record, 7th rushing touchdown.
Buffalo radio, the Buffalo Bulls put up, what, a 70-burger, JJ? And a little action. 8 touchdowns for Patterson in their victory over the weekend. Just silly numbers.
409 yards rushing. And we're talking about a 5'9", 195 running back. Now, we're not talking about Derrick Henry. We're talking about a scat back that is the best running back in the MAC. Unbelievable.
Yeah, Micah, best player in the NFL from Buffalo. Do you know who it is for the University of Buffalo? He was a pick of the Oakland Raiders, got traded to the Chicago Bears. He's a stud defensively. Come on now. The Aztecs beat him in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl because Buffalo talked a bunch of crap, calling them soft California guys. It was Rocky telling the story. It's great. Khalil Mack is
okay.
Yeah. Were you about to say that?
No, I was, and then I overthought it, and then I was like,
JJ, he was he was a stud in college now, and he's been a hell of a pro. I heard that story. They were up in the Idaho Potato Bowl, Buffalo and San Diego State, and San Diego State gets this a lot from and this is when they started winning games. Cincinnati did it to them out in the Hawaii Bowl where the Aztecs pounded them. But you soft California boys and the whole thing. You can't handle the cold. And it was cold in Boise that day. The Aztecs beat back Khalil Mack in that. 505-246-0610.
So that game, you're Kent State. You score 41 points.
Yeah. You
have 578 yards of total offense, and you lose 70-41. Just unbelievable. That's like, there's one thing coming. They're giving the ball to the running back. There's one thing. Like, you could sell out 10 dudes to the football, and they still couldn't stop him.
Meeting rooms the next day, right? So you're in the offensive meeting room, and you're like, I don't know. We scored, what'd you tell me, 45 points?
41 points.
What more do we got to do? Defensively, you don't even want to show up, do you? To a meeting the next day and watch the film session?
You opt out of the season immediately after that game.
Yeah, you quarantine. You claim contact tracing, and I got to go somewhere. Like, it didn't work for me. I don't know, man. I just it's something different. But that was crazy. Oregon State beat Oregon. That was a big one in the Pac-12 over the weekend in college football, 41-38. That really probably takes the Pac-12 out of any playoff consideration. And then the other one, which stunned some people, but I don't know that it should have been that much of a stunner. Northwestern was ranked 7th in the country, was getting a lot of love, and Michigan State beat them 29-20.
Yeah, I still, Northwestern at that point was in the driver's seat to win the division. They weren't going to win the conference. Now that totally could happen. If they have end up playing Indiana, then it's a totally different game than Ohio State, say in the Big Ten championship game, because of all the moving pieces that are involved. But that was the thing with Northwestern, man. It's all right, tough football team, but a ton of deficiencies, and you saw that losing to Michigan State on Saturday.
Yeah, there were a lot of results over the weekend, and you just kind of, I guess you just kind of sit around and scratch your head at some of them. But that's where we were. I think Hawaii, Nevada might have been that way for a lot of people.
Hawaii was, how well Nevada played, or even if you want to keep it into the Pac-12, Washington scoring 24 straight points
coming back
on Utah, coming back to win that game. The thing now to watch is USC. So the reason Colorado played San Diego State is they were supposed to play USC, a Pac-12 South battle. That didn't happen. So now what does the future hold for the undefeated team along with CU in the South?
Yeah, and if it goes that way. All right, we're going to get back to your phone calls in a little bit, 505-246-0610. When we come back, John Traub's with us. If you've gone to an Isotopes game, you've met Nick LeBeau. If you went to a Scorpions game, if JJ, this one was incredibly tough on me and I know on John and a lot of people I spoke with, Nick LeBeau passed away on Friday morning, COVID-related stuff. Was Scorpions general manager, helped build the corporate sales piece, the look of Isotopes Park, but was more than that, was just family. He and I spent hours just telling stories, belly laughing. John Traub worked with him. We're gonna remember Nick, who had just an incredible, left an impression on everybody he met, and we're gonna do that next. John Traub, the general manager of the Isotopes, is going to be with us. You'll hear probably a story or two of just a wonderful, wonderful man who isn't going to be replaced. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Creates space. He gives it off to Rivas for the 3, and he buries it.
Could be coming in soon. Double pick set for Avalos. Goes to the right. Avalos puts it up high. Window. Scores it as foul.
Right here by Lewis all the way, coast to coast, and finish.
What a...
Around the screen. Against White. Step back. It's blocked. JB with the block.
In transition. Ahead to hit on. Hit on for the two-hand hammer.
Minutes to go. They've got a shot. They have a chance. And it's put up. And it's good. What a 3 that is by Jalen.
You know, puts it up.
Rebound Cowboys. Right side David Hall. Thank you very much. Here come the Cowboys. Domina Lovato lays it up. Missed it. Hey, how about it? Thank you, Lusses. Thank you very much, Raquan Mitchell. Clock at 6. They get it. Barnes Tompkins fires. Yes! Pass up court. This for the win. Blocked by DJ Bustos. Cowboys win. Cowboys win.
Plays it across the box off the dasher. It's settled. Shot up by Garcia. Trickles in. Goal.
Chavez blocked at the rim. And here's Dorian Lewis to Watson.
Shot on and just wide. Big deflection. Goal.
So Friday morning, the morning after Thanksgiving, I missed a phone call. I got in the car and I saw a text from John Traub, a good friend, general manager of the Isotopes, said, "Call me." I said, all right. I'm thinking, maybe he wants to talk about his Bruins getting beat by the Aztecs. That was another thing we haven't talked about on basketball on Wednesday night. So I called John, and I had to pull over with the news that he gave me. He said, I got bad news, and he told me that Nick LeBeau had passed away. And Nick is family to me. Nick and I go back 20 plus years. We worked together at the Scorpions. He was the general manager there. And if you've been to an Isotopes game, you probably have shaken Nick's hand, laughed with him. He and I have spent hours telling stories, life stories, BSing, belly laughing. He's family, loyal, funny, certainly imperfect. I had to pull over. I shed a lot of tears this weekend, as I know a lot of people did. I was going to tell Addie when I saw her, she was with her mom this weekend. Every game, JJ, we go to, not some games, not a lot of games. Every game we go to at Isotopes Park, before we go to our seats, we go find Uncle Nicky, and Addie gives Uncle Nicky a hug. And she sent me a text over the weekend. Her mom saw it on social media. She's like, "Did Uncle Nicky die?" And she and I got on the phone and had a good cry. John Traub obviously is very close with Nick LeBeau and the family, and he joins us now on the Quan's Auto Care hotline. John, I wish we were talking about the Aztecs and the Bruins on Friday. I don't even know where to start, John. I mean, I know you and I both love Nick, and you and I have talked a little bit over the weekend. I've been struggling just coming to grips with the reality of this thing. How you holding up?
Well, Jeff, like you and like so many people in this community, and we're mourning the loss of just a dear friend, a dear person who has held such a important role in all of our lives. Nick had a way of just forging a special relationship with each and every person that he met and that he knew, and he cared about people in a way that you just don't see very much anymore. I mean, if he cared about you, man, he cared about you, and you know what I'm talking about. He would always ask about family. He would always, and his family is so close, and he's so proud of that family, Jeff, and you know that, and everything that they've done personally, professionally, of course, owning the Grove restaurant downtown, and it's just such a, I don't know, earth-shattering loss to us all, and it's going to take all of us time to come to grips with it and face the reality that Uncle Mickey is no longer with us. And it's just, everything just happened so quickly, and I'm sorry for rambling, but it's just he was absolutely, I mean, he was the first employee hired by the baseball team. He and I were, as he would always say, man, we were hip to hip, cheek to cheek for almost 20 years of the Isotopes' existence here, and proud to say that I love the man, and we will miss him dearly.
John, for people who didn't maybe necessarily know him, they know his work. You go to Isotopes Park and you see all the corporate signage, and I think it's more corporate support of what was displayed at the ballpark. That's Nick's mark on the ballpark, wasn't it? And every one of those signs, every one of those logos was a relationship that he was able to carry on and to build. And between you and him, you guys have built that community piece that shows in that ballpark.
Well, it's not just Nick and me. It's all the people that have worked with us for so long, and the people that we've been with together for so long: Chrissy Baines, Adam Beggs, Bobby Atencio, Cindy DiFrancesco, Mark Otero, people that have been together for 10, 15, almost 20 years, and everybody. And I'm glad that you used the relationships when you were talking about the corporate signage and stuff that you see around, because that's what Nick was all about. And the people that he hired or that we hired or that came on, they understand the importance of relationships and how that really embedded us into the community as deeply as we were able to in such a short amount of time. Nick used to say that the Isotopes became interwoven into the fabric of the community, and he was absolutely at the point of that, and so for so many of the successes that we've had over the years, and of course his presence that he had about himself on the concourse, in the office, with fans, with people from all walks of life. Jeff, man, it didn't matter if you were the president of the company or the intern or what your role was in the business. Man, he cared about you, and he took time to learn who you were as a person, and he'd have a little nickname for everybody, and it's just such a tragic loss for us all, not just with the Isotopes, but within this community, within his family at the Grove. It's just earth-shattering for us.
John Schraub's the general manager of the Albuquerque Isotopes. He's with us on the opening drive.
And John, I didn't know him personally, but I definitely knew about him. And I think what you and Jeff are saying is, that special connection that someone has, because there's a lot of people that work hard, there's a lot of people that care, but this was definitely something that comes across as next level. And I guess just how special, how important is that when it's not just someone doing their job, but someone, as you said, that is intertwined with this city and state.
Well, JJ, he loved what he did. He loved the impact of what he did. He loved the impact of our franchise in this community. He loved being a part of that. He loved seeing the young people that we would hire and bring into the organization. He took so much pride in seeing them blossom and grow. And as people, as professionals, his role over time really morphed into one as a mentor, as a father figure, as an uncle figure, as a sounding board, as a professor, both in terms of street smarts and book smarts. He just took so much pride in all of that, and he just loved it so much. And you could tell, you could tell. And Jeff, you said that, he wasn't perfect, and who is? However, he was perfect in who he was. And, and it's just tough.
Yeah, no, it's JJ hit it on the head. JJ, I'm so glad that you said what you said, because maybe that means we're getting across who he was. You didn't know him, but there was this caring about Nick that he'll just call you out of the blue, and says, "How's the baby? How you doing? You okay?" He wanted to check on something I'm going through, and if you're one of his guys. And I think, John, maybe you and I might have been, one of his guys. Boy, was he loyal, and he took care of you. I remember when I introduced him to Ken Young, when we were working with the Scorpions, and put the two of them together, and Ken says, "Hey, this Nick LeBeau, interesting guy this guy is. He's terrific." And Nick called me, "Oh, do I owe you, baby boy?" When it put the two together, and just the stories. John, there was something that was heartfelt, sincere, loyal, and just engaging. And like I said, man, Addie is just crushed that it's like, what do we do when we go to the ball game? I said, "You'll go hug Mr. Traub now."
Well, she's always done that too, but it's just different, right? Just and the fact, children, and it doesn't matter how old the kids are. I mean, everybody knows him, right? And even if you don't know him, you said it, you know his work, you know his impact, the passion that he would have for what he did with us. It will continue to shine through each and every person at the ballpark. The employees and you know what? Yeah, the impact is so significant, and we will find the right way to honor him, and to continue his legacy and to continue what he wanted. And he just man, he loved coming to the office. He loved coming to the ballpark. He loved the games. He loved interacting with the people. He just loved shaking hands and telling stories and people. I would be with him. I mean, he and I have been together for a long, long time, but man, I mean, I cannot hold a candle to this man when it comes to the relationships and just you see these people that he's known forever that just come up and hug him and like it's he's known them their whole life, and in some cases he has, and I tell you what, I mean, we've all learned so much from him. And we're all going to miss him terribly. Yeah, he and I watched him work those relationships with the Scorpions, and then you watched it with the Isotopes, and it's just there was a uniqueness. You see, this guy, JJ, there's a lot of people you replace. There's no replacing this guy. There's the character that was Uncle Nicky, the family person. Let me just emphasize something you said. He loves his family, and he leaves behind his wife Judy and his daughters Lisa and Lauren and his son Andrew and grandchildren. And but I felt like he was family, and I told you this. And it's killing me. He used to take me over to the Grove, and we'd go into Lauren's office, and he says, "This guy right here, I want him to MC my funeral." I'm like, "Stop it!" And she's like, "Dad, enough. I don't want to talk about your funeral. Enough." I get it. No, he's gonna. He knows me. He's gonna MC my funeral. I'm like, "Holy smokes!" Those words I hear him ringing in my head. You don't replace a guy like that. Leave that square, John. That cushion square. JJ. He had this. So Nick was 71, so he would stand on this. It was probably about a 6-inch foam cushion that he would stand on because the home stands kind of took a toll on his feet and his back, and so he would stand on his little cushion, and it was almost like his little throne. Come greet Uncle Nicky, right? Should leave that there. Kiss the ring and give Uncle Nicky a hug, and you know what? I always took this as a great compliment to him, is that people thought he was the owner. People thought he was the general manager. People thought he was in charge of this and in charge of that, and he was this and he was that, and he was, right? I mean, he was, and so yeah, I mean, it's just so hard to wrap our arms around right now. But I feel for our staff. I mean, he's been such a integral part of the personal lives of so many people that he's worked with over the years, with the Scorpions, with the Isotopes, and throughout all walks of his life, and he just has taken so much pride in the position that he's had in helping them as human beings and as people, and being there for people, and myself included. And you're right, Jeff. You don't replace somebody like that, but you find a way to honor him and honor his memory and be there for the family, and just continue to love Nick like the way we always have, and just to continue being what he wanted us to be. And tell stories, yeah. Hey, I appreciate you coming on. Tell stories, man. Tell stories, boy. Could he command the room, and could he tell a story? That's right. Let me tell you something, baby boy. A bip, a bip, a bip, and hey, this. Jeff, if I can share this, I mean, this is not good radio, but and this is personal because you and I both know this. The way that we shake hands, you and I, when we see each other. That's right. And the way that we kind of do that little bro hug, that's all because of Nick. And we have a certain way. Because he couldn't extend his arm all the way, so it's a little short arm, JJ. It's this little short alligator arm shake because he couldn't extend his arm all the way out. Yeah. That was a way to bring people closer to him physically, too, right? No doubt. No doubt. And so. All right, be well. I appreciate you doing this.
It's tough, and our best to the family, and I'll be in touch, John. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, JJ.
John Traub, General Manager of the Ice. JJ, thank you for indulging us on that. It's been a tough year, man, and God, I cried a lot this weekend. This one knocked me on my ass. It's real, man. And COVID went quick. He went to the hospital on Sunday and passed on Friday morning. And so I appreciate you indulging me and us on that one, because he was pretty special in this community.
Yeah, it was, like I said, I didn't know Nick personally, but I saw that post by the Isotopes referencing his passing, and I was shocked, man, because I know how important he was to you, to the sporting community in New Mexico. And it's, someone, if you didn't know him, you need to know about his story and, his presence with the Scorpions and then the Isotopes in this city.
I wish he would have got to finish his book, too. It's the opening drive on ProView Network and 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
The 20.
It's his second field goal. He's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off. Romero, a 3 for...
Set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good... Here's Ramos, step back, high arcing, twine.
But he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, little kick.
They leave it one more time to Hammer.
Look at this, they're going to go score again. Look at this.
Up top! Yes, and the finish for Akbayosi. Saved into the hands of Riak, ahead of the pack to Davina Lovato. Up high, down hard for Akbayosi. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess! He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in. He got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides looking, still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
Third and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake, head up the middle, got some room. 50, 45, 40, has one man to beat. 30, 25, 10, 5, touchdown. Touchdown, Hope.
Wow.
On a
Option again, he'll keep it. Now he'll pitch it. Comes out to the 30, 25, 20, up the sideline. Still inbounds into the end zone. Let's see.
Touchdown.
Touchdown. Portell.
Davison on the play action, looking. He's going to go back to Lewis, and Lewis makes a cut, and Lewis still on his feet. Dorian Lewis is in for a touchdown. So Davison back to toss, and he's got all day. Makes one miss, and he's rolling. He's got a guy. Can he get it there? Davison to Luke Weissong.
We told you he
touchdown.
Could spin that football, and that was a throw right there.
Set one on the Aggie victory over Arizona Christian last night. Opening drive, Jeff, JJ, Micah, J. Pull, and Josh. 505-246-0610. Get back into it. By the way, did you... you mentioned this earlier, the golf match on Friday, you caught none of it. Tiger. It was Phil and Charles Barkley against Peyton and Steph Curry. Steph could play, but man, Phil got in their heads, somehow got Chuck to hit the ball. He was telling him, no, Chuck, don't, you hit a 7 here, not the 6. And Phil was terrific, and all the money was the other way, and Phil and Barkley won.
Yeah, in this 4-day weekend of absolutely everything going on in the sports world, I missed it.
It was
swing and a miss in my part.
It was awesome. Jeffrey, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Good day, Jeffrey.
It is a good day, but I wanted to share my thoughts and perspectives about Nick. I read the paper every day, cover to cover, and Saturday morning I opened a paper, and there's Nick's face, and I got to know him pretty well when I worked for the Slam doing their marketing back in '99, 2000.
Yeah.
I think he was still with the Scorpions.
Yep.
And then transitioned the relationship when I worked, with the Hispano Chamber, and he then took over the position as corporate relations director, I think it was, for the Isotopes. But to John's point, every time I'd go to a game with my then girlfriend, or wife or grandpa, whatever, just seeing Nick there, he would always go out of his way to connect. And I'm a very cynical guy, unapologetically, but every time I'd interact with Nick, my cynicism would just vanquish, because he had such an affable, humility, yet, powerful at the same time. And you felt like you were the only person in the room, when you were at the game. And, I just wanted to share, my thoughts about, and express my condolences to his family. But I really, really cared about the guy, and just a wonderful, affable, kind spirit.
Genuine.
And anyway, God bless, his spirit, and Isotopes Park will never be the same, but his legacy will live on, and we'll always remember him, and just a kind, affable man, and I cared for him immensely. Thank you.
That's great. No, thank you, Jeffrey. That's really cool. He was just genuine, and that's how he made people feel, man. I used to watch people come up to him all the time and watch how he related to people, and it was just. It's a hell of a gift, man. We should all strive to be like that. Again, imperfect, as we all are, but boy, the way people related, it's we should all be that way. And then there's the Jets. Hello, Sean. How you living?
As good as can be. As good as can be. Right. But I'd just like to say I never got to meet the man. That's a pleasure I'll never have at this point. But I know his family, and his family is a testament to how Nick was. Much like JJ, that opportunity I'll never have, but you feel the effect of people through your life, and that man's had an effect on my life, and I've never met him. That's a cool thing. My sympathy to Nick's entire family, all his friends. It's a loss for the sports community in New Mexico. It's tough.
It is. And his family is amazing, and I'm going to assume you know Lauren and his daughter, who they own the Grove. Where so many of us have gone, or maybe you know Andrew. I don't know who you know, but yeah.
Actually, it's my partner. She's a teacher. She tutors his grandkids, so we know Lauren and her family. Great people.
Yeah.
But let's brighten up your day with my misery.
Please.
Over that.
Please, yeah, hit me with some Sam Darnold or something.
So the first quarter, that catch that bounced off the ground, it wasn't a catch. I was so irate in that moment. It was unbelievable. All for it to matter for nothing because they scored 3 points. 3 points the entire game.
3 points.
You've got that Buffalo running back scoring 8 touchdowns. We even scored 8 touchdowns all season.
All year? I don't know that you have. That's a great question.
Like we have.
I'm going to find out.
It's crazy. The Lions can clear house, but the Jets can't even let go of Adam Gase.
That's awesome.
I told you they would not fire him during the season.
You did say that.
It's the most Jets thing to do. We don't fire coaches, like in season for some reason, when all the evidence is there. There's no positives. Like, even the Texans get wins with Romeo Cornell.
A lot of them, actually. Yeah, you've scored 15 touchdowns this season. No, sorry.
Guys,
14.
I want to talk about something positive for the Jets. A coach I'd like to actually see interviewed for the position, Jim Caldwell.
I like that. Actually, I like that a lot. I thought he did a hell of a job and continues to do a good job. Jim Caldwell's, I think, a good football coach.
He made the Lions good. Look at Matt Patricia, a rocket scientist. He has the degree, he has the education, everything. He can't run a football team.
Yeah.
They fired Jim Caldwell for a scrub. They learned their mistake.
Jim Caldwell would be an interesting choice there.
I'd like to see it happen.
All right. Sean, be well. It's good to hear you.
Appreciate you guys. Have a good one.
What do you think of Jim Caldwell? Jim Caldwell deserves another shot, don't you think?
Yeah, I think Jim Caldwell, you look at what he did with Detroit, it was better than Matt Patricia, and they fired Caldwell for Matt Patricia, and it was an embarrassing day for the Thanksgiving mainstays in Detroit and Dallas for what happened. Houston, that's the Deshaun Watson I'm all in on. All day, every day. You see his games, against the Patriots and then against the Lions, just the level of play that he can take his teams to. But back to the point at hand. Yeah, the Jets were being the Jets, but yesterday was why the Dolphins went to Tua. I did not know he had the thumb injury, and then you find out Ryan Fitzpatrick is starting. You think, all right, Ryan Fitzpatrick day. Not the case. That was a 13-3 game for far too long if you're the Miami Dolphins. But it was just evident, like, this is why they went to Tua. They had to see, all right, can we start developing a guy with a higher ceiling than Ryan Fitzpatrick? Because there's no way. Yes, it's a division game, and they know each other pretty well. But that was uncomfortable for far too long in that game for Miami.
So these teams like the Jets, the Jaguars who don't win, they're not getting blown out every week. So the Dolphins lost last week to the Chargers by 1 possession. They lost to the Patriots the week before by 3 points. The Chiefs are a different beast. They lost to the Bills by 1 possession. I look at what the Jaguars are doing. They're like, I know we say you got to beat these teams, and by the way, they beat them. So all of a sudden we're putting style points on this. The Jags, the Jets, these teams are playing tight games, and the Bengals threatening to win every single week. They just don't win.
Yeah, that's a difference when we're talking about professional sports. We can laugh at Cincinnati. We can joke about Mike Lennon, but you're not going to week in and week out destroy teams, even if you're favored in the game, and that was evident. Cleveland had a ton of injuries, and they had to scratch and claw to beat the Jaguars. And by the way, someone who's not going to win, but is number 2 in NFL Rookie of the Year is James Robinson. He has 94% of the running back snaps for the Jaguars this season. And he's pretty much the only player on that offense that you go, yeah, this guy worries us, and he's still productive week in and week out.
Yeah, I think that's fair. All right, 505-246-0610. I got a bunch of emails that I've got to get to you. We will still take your phone calls at 505-246-0610. I got more NFL. We still got it. We haven't even touched on what the Vikings comeback look like. The Browns barely getting by the Jaguars. The Giants now are in first place of the NFC East. The Giants with Colt McCoy are in first place of the NFC East. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Segura.
Dribble, spin cycle, up and under move. What a pass. Wrap around pass.
Harris, Legate, the long bomb, 3 ball.
Oh, great steal by Quinteros, lays it up and scores.
A whole little jump step in the...
And look out, here comes Agbayosi. Crawford. That's blocked. Lansing says, get that out of here. Sister to sister, Marianne Lansing's going to go all the way. Turnaround. Ramos, pump fake, everyone bites. Ramos hits.
Jackson loses it. Taylor Bond back, LAU, put it down. Don't go Delicious! How about it?
Call it as Javi's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's gonna walk into the end zone.
But he did a good job with it.
First and goal, it's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez stops.
And Stevens in motion. On the handoff to Mitchell. Look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house. Fly, Cardinals fly. To the other side, provides some protection. And off to Webskowski again. Look out! See you later. Good night. Touchdown, Webskowski. Day. He's going to fire to the end zone. Open man! Touchdown! Wildcat! Not a defender inside.
A little bit.
Kowski on the sideline! Hasta mañana! He's off to the races! Touchdown, Clovis!
Albuquerque this afternoon.
34-24, Rancho, late in the third. How about this run? Nice play. Deckerman, he's still on his feet. Touchdown, Wolverine!
Vikings 28-27 over the Panthers in a comeback by Kirk Cousins. You get the Seahawks and the Eagles tonight. JJ, the New York Giants are in first place in the NFC East. We've talked about every team in that division. We have. Being the best team. We talk, oh, the Eagles have to be. The Eagles are the only one who still have their quarterback as of now. We've talked about, oh, gee, Alex Smith is back and their defense is really good. Oh, well, the Cowboys, look, the Cowboys had their chance. By the way, can we get into, for a brief second, how they vomited all over themselves on Thanksgiving Day? Cowboys look like dog bleep on Thanksgiving Day. I mean, do you have a better description?
I think that is fair with what happened to them in the second half and specifically fourth quarter. Antonio Gibson having his way with the defense that were like, hey, they're playing better. They have a shot. This essentially was a pick'em game going into it with how both teams have played, and Washington just dominating that game when it mattered. It just highlights who the Cowboys are. These teams, because they're so bad, each and every one of them, week in and week out, you're going to think, oh, they have a chance. But there are also those ultimate reminders of why they're just that bad. And that was Dallas in that fourth quarter. And hey, Alex Smith, the Washington football team moving on, because is Daniel Jones going to be able to play quarterback? That was a big part of why that game was so close. Cincinnati had a kickoff return for a touchdown, which was one of their scores. But without Daniel Jones, yeah, you're not going anywhere with Colt McCoy as your quarterback, and that was really evident. But also, Jeff, I want to ask you, just bring up the point, backup quarterback situations in the NFL. Like, it's most of the time they are what you expect. Sometimes you're pleasantly surprised by what a quarterback can do. But the Cincinnati one fascinates me is, how was Ryan Finley your backup? Someone started 3 games for the end of last season. All right, you transition to Joe Burrow. He gets there. But it's Brandon Allen who comes up off the practice squad that ends up being your starting quarterback, but Ryan Finley was your backup quarterback. It's like things like that. That is something. Did you just not think he was that bad, and you saw him in a second half of the game in which your starting quarterback was injured, and then you go to the practice squad quarterback?
And maybe the third guy got more healthy. Yeah, I don't know. Because you had 2 guys who were promoted over, like what you're talking about in Cincinnati and in Jacksonville, and Mike Glennon. who came in and is promoted over Jake Luton. And by the way, both those guys had their team in position to win. They lost by 2 points. Both of them. Mike Glennon and Brandon Allen yesterday. Both of them had their guys. And so that's where the stuff we don't see every day in practice it matters, right? It obviously matters. And Jake Luton got his chance. Ryan Finley got his chance. And obviously these coaches, and it's hard to sit there and say, I mean, look, the Bengals don't win a lot, but they play close games. And they played a game against the Giants defense, so I thought the Giants defense would shred them. Now, they only gave up 17 points. But there they were in a position to win. And the same thing with Jacksonville. I mean, Jacksonville damn near beat the Browns yesterday. Now, you can say Baker Mayfield missed on a bunch of open touchdowns, and you'd be right. But Jacksonville had a shot. They were the 2-point conversion away of sending that game to overtime.
Yeah, and that's the hesitation with Baker Mayfield. And the conversation we have is, at what point do you realize, hey, this quarterback might be good, but is he good enough? And that's exactly where Cleveland is. That's where a lot of teams are. Does it make sense to start over? Is there a veteran guy that's better? Do you have a high pick in the draft? And tough situations, but I think you saw that play out with Cleveland. Yeah, everyone was laughing. You're like, really? Mike Glennon, the Jaguars? Okay. And they had to pull one out. Like Jarvis Landry had a huge day, and Nick Chubb was solid, but Mayfield missing on some more throws. A game that should have been more comfortable, but it's back to the point that these are all professionals. As much as we want to joke and laugh about what some of these teams are doing, they have a job to do, and it shows up week in and week out because it's a week-to-week league.
Yep, and we see that every single week. All right, you have a say when we come back. I'll take this final break. 505-246-0610. Does your credit card pay you? If you've got the Independence credit card from Kirtland Federal Credit Union, you are getting 1.5% unlimited cash back with every single purchase. So if you buy a tank of gas, you get 1.5. Holiday gifts, 1.5%. Morning coffee, 1.5%, no limits. We all have to pay for things. If you're not earning some of it back, you don't have the Independence credit card. Awesome rates, easy and fast approval. Get started today at kirtlandfcu.org/credit card. That's kirtlandfcu.org/credit card. Apply today. Kirtland Federal Credit Union. They are more than military. They are for life. Kirtland Federal Credit Union is equal housing lender, federally insured by the NCUA.
Lovato driving. They're going to count it. There goes. Ooh, a little spin and a finish. Natalia Chavez, good spin. Takes it.
Here's Ramos. Nice jump stop to the.
Maybe gambling a little bit. Oh, there's that.
Hill, little step, high window, and got the second.
To the middle. Here we go. 3.9. It's Cooper's going to run with it. Cooper's going to swing it out to Lowry. Lowry. Portillo couldn't get it off, and Clovis. He goes in. It's waved off. He did not get it off in time. Portillo.
Reverse layup.
Lazy pass. Here comes Crawford. It might be showtime. Save. Shoot. They'll get one off, and it'll count high off the window.
Oh my gosh.
There's the long three.
Boom.
Bang. Martinez will beat the buzzer. Got it to go.
Ford driving kick. Three's in the air. It's good. Nice pass on the nice block by Hernandez Crawford.
And Brown in the transition. But why not, Steve? Is Corbalan's going to go and he puts it away. And Corbalan wants to put it down. Here comes Las Brown. You can't leave him alone. Put it down.
Gershon in transition. 3-on-2. Gershon going to go all the way. Whoa, Morgan.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Moreno extra pass, and Watson.
All right, I want to get in as much as we can before we go. I want to get Jason's email in. Let's go to the phones, 505-246-0610. Fred, thanks for holding. Good morning, Fred.
Hey, Jeff. How's it going, guy?
Good. How you living?
I just wanted to say something about Nick LeBeau. Everybody said pretty much everything I wanted to say, but the one thing about Nick, I remember the first time I met him with the New Mexico games, and I was asking to have them be a sponsor, and he said that, he'd tell me, I can't promise you each year, Fred, but, I'll do what I can. To the second year, he told his staff that we're going to be doing this for Fred forever. We're going to be with Fred in the New Mexico games and support him, and the thing about Nick is he always called me when I gave him cookies at Christmas time. He'd always call me and thank me. Like Jeff said on the corridor, you had to go see him because you just loved the guy. The guy was just such a great guy. And as far as I saw in the article about John saying he's like a brother, I felt the same way too, because he always, when I went to see him, he always stopped by John's office and told John, hey, Fred's here. And he's just a great guy. And that's it.
No, Fred, appreciate you. I guarantee you, when he gave Fred his word that he would do it every year, I guarantee you he did it every year. Like that guy's word was and he didn't forget, man. He would always remember. He said, "No, I got you." It was, "I got a guy, baby boy. I gotta take care of you." and he did. All right, I'm gonna go to the phones in a minute, but I want to read Jason's email. Good morning, OD. Aggie basketball had quite the tussle in Glendale. Yes, it was a close game. Yes, it shows the Aggies have a way to go, but it's a win. It's one game. It's fodder for Jansen Company when they hit the hardwood for practice today. It was a team with a high ceiling, but needs time time to gel. What I did find interesting, he says, was the color guy on the broadcast was a Grand Canyon guy. Imagine Portnoy, the ultimate homer, he says, being the color guy for even-keeled Jack Nixon. Speaking of the Lobos, a few weeks ago I made the comment about the lack of speed Lobo football has, a statement that was quickly rebuffed. Since then, we watched Phalanx. That's a Phalanx? I don't know that word. Phalanx. I'm going to assume that means a lot. Of opposing skill position talent run away from the Lobo defense. And if there was any question about how slow Lobo football is, I give you exhibit. Quarterback with a knee brace on his right leg. Did anyone miss that? Outran pursuit angles and a secondary guy for 62 yards in the game-clinching touchdown. No, it wasn't Scarver, a former 200-meter champion in California. It was a guy with a knee brace. Nothing says being run by like a guy donning a knee brace, looking like Bo Jackson in the Tecmo Bowl games. Coach G was right. His team's not good right now, but in this area you need speed guys, and the Lobos don't have those who can erase mistakes. P.S. Take heart, Lobo fan. Coach G will get these deficiencies solved in recruiting, so it's a process. At least you are playing. It's from Jason. Marty, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Hello, Marty.
Good morning, gentlemen. So, back to Lobo football. You know, Trey Hall looked like a human pinata out there, the way he was taking hits. And it's sorrowful that the officials couldn't have had a roughing the quarterback penalty earlier. They had to wait till Connor Janal got a targeting late in the fourth quarter there. So, you know, it amazes me that, you know, if they could just be a little more proficient, especially on offense with blocking. They just seem to break down. The blocking schemes are bad. Some of the play calling is bad. And, you know, it seems like every team in the Mountain West has a 6'5" quarterback and a 6'6" receiver. Something maybe we should also apply at our quarterback and skilled positions. So going forward, it's going to be 0-10. Unfortunately, Gonzalez is not going to win the last two. So with all the seniors on the team, it's been a tough year, long year. As the announcers refer to them as the Las Vegas Lobos. Sure, they got pretty comfortable there in Henderson, and when they played the Utah game, second half they came out cold. It was cold in Utah. They've been practicing over here. I think they would have been acclimated with the climate. But maybe 2021 for everybody and the Lobo football team, it'll be a better year. All right, thanks.
Thanks, Marty. Well, they won't be 0-10, JJ. I'm going to promise you that.
They're not going to lose 3 extra games. As rough as it's been, they're not going to lose 3 extra games. And I get the frustration about the quarterback position. I actually liked the way the offense was looking up into the previous 2 games. The reality of it is this team is deficient in a lot of areas. Talent acquisition, recruiting is going to be big because while we all heard about Kyle Stapley and Teton Saltis, right, on the offensive line, that unit's not good. They're not running the football. And then when they have to get in passing situations, the quarterbacks are running for their lives. And when you're running for your life and you're outside the pocket, you're a runner. And thus you take a lot of hits.
Yep, and they did.
1 minute.
We're soft, Omar says, just like Lobo football quarterbacks when the Washington team hit us in the mouth early, knocking out a couple of our key players on our first drive. I didn't see a fight in the Dallas Cowboys. When we're playing a rival like Washington on Thanksgiving, I expect more from NFL's most complete franchise. If Jerry can't coach toughness, I guess he's going to have to go out and recruit it. All right, thanks to John Traub and to Danny Gonzalez. The Jim Rome Show is next, and Patrick Show's after that. Sports Bar with Trulio and Carlisle this afternoon at 3. We're back tomorrow morning starting at 7 a.m. with more award-winning radio. Jason and Josh, great job on the video side on ProView Networks. Micah, good-looking lid, better-looking car. Good job. Yeah. JJ, enjoy the last Monday of November.
That sounds crazy. Y'all have a day.
Last day of November. Monday Night Football tonight. Eagles and Seahawks. Be good to each other. Please be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. We'll smell you tomorrow.
As we enter the
going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth that's real tough, backed by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network. Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Played over to Madrid, plays it across the box off the dasher. It's settled. Shot on by Garcia. Trickles in. Goal.
Chavez blocked at the rim. And here's Dorian Lewis to Watson.
Shot on and just wide. Big deflection. Goal.
With this first field goal. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Not a game you can go have 25 turnovers in and win.
Get that out of here, Watson says. Here comes Hodnett all the way. He's blocked in return.